This program is brought to you by Apply Mortgages.
Yeah, great competition, and what a competition it has been so far. I mentioned at the top of the show there, Simon, 4 men, all who've got a very excellent chance of qualifying tonight, and that really does ring true. This is a group that's about as even as any other, and also the level of this group is very, very high as well.
Yeah, fantastic lineup. One of the tougher groups to call for me. It's a very even lineup, but a very high quality lineup. And I'm really, well, it's good. I think all 3 matches tonight could go all the way down to the wire.
Yeah, we've got 2 matches to come, and we start with our first one. Let's look ahead to this one now. Aaron Davies against Shane Thompson. Before we sort of preview this one, get out to the table. These are 2 players who you'd probably just about make the top 2 of this 4, maybe. Pretty close. But 2 players who are such high quality, the matchup itself should be fantastic.
Yeah, I think it's probably a fair call on current form over the last year or 2. They've certainly been playing more than others. Aaron, we've seen on Free Sports over the last couple of years making it through to the World Championship final. We saw a lot of him there. We've seen him really progress, and he's absolutely starting to establish himself as one of the top players in the world. We've seen a little bit less of Shane. We saw him in the previous event. It didn't go his way in the first round, but we know from seeing him in other tournaments that he is absolutely a phenomenal ball player. Possibly, for me, a little bit underrated, considering how good he is. That's a strange thing to say, and this is going to be a very tough match to call.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get them out onto the table then. This is Aaron Davies against Shane Thompson. The other 2 players are out in the arena. Let's get them underway. What a lineup we've got for you tonight. Our second match, Zach Shepherd against John Chambers. We'll talk plenty more about those 2 as the night wears on. That's our first match of the night then, and what a good matchup it is. As Simon mentioned, really difficult to call. In Aaron, we've got a player we've seen a lot of in recent events. He was part of the Super Series, the first event out of lockdown, did well in that competition, performing excellently in a fair few matches, and also went deep in the Champions League too, before eventually being beaten by the eventual winner, Chris Melling. No shame in that. A super consistent player, and if he can get his break going tonight, Simon, his pattern playing his work sort of almost in table is up there with absolutely anyone, isn't it?
Yeah, for me, I think the way he goes about it, you mentioned the word consistent, and I think one of the reasons he is so consistent is because of the style of play he has. He's always looking for the right shot, the percentage shot, the shot that's going to win him the frame of the ball. Doesn't always chase a finish if it's not there, but if it is there, he's absolutely as good as anyone in them making that clearance. He's very, very clinical, very methodical, and a fantastic player. And very rare you see his level drop too low, whereas some players we see extreme highs, but they can also come off the boil a little bit, and that happens when they're sort of chasing finishes that are perhaps not quite there.
Yeah, he's earned the nickname the Cyborg, which I think is very, very fitting. Word I use a lot when describing Aaron is cerebral. He's a real thinker about the game, takes everything on its merit. Really, really intelligent pool player. Very calculated.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be up against it tonight, though. But this is a good opening chance for him. These are all there. Everything's in the open, and exactly what you want when you make a ball off your first break.
Yeah, we've played a couple of clever shots as well. That one's a little bit overhit, though. He wanted to be on the ball on the left cushion, and he's just misjudged the bounce there. That can happen, especially in the first frame of a match. As players just get used to the pace of the table and so on. Had a little bit of time to practice on it, Aaron, so he'll be disappointed with that one. This is a thin cut, therefore.
Yeah, it's tough to control the cue ball as well. Might have to play around with these reds. He's done very well.
Yeah, he played that all right. think he would have wanted in an ideal world to be on the yellow to the top right, but he has got options.
He may well still play that one to the top right, although it's a trickier pot, and again he'd have to watch out for the reds. But no, he is going to come down the table. The problem he has here, he needs to leave an angle on the next ball to be able to get to the next one. Yeah, could have done with a few more rolls on that, trying to get lower down the table as well. So this one's just starting to get away from him a fraction.
Yeah, if he was the other side of this yellow to the top right, he might have even rerouted, gone up the table and back down again. Might have to do that. I just wonder if he can possibly top all the way through, but this is aggressive. I think he's just off the wrong side of straight to screw all the way back, although I might be wrong. He can just screw all the way back. Managed to find the angle. He's a little bit short here, but I think it's just about on. It's close.
Yeah, I think he played on this yellow on the previous shot and just came up short, and this time he's come up even shorter. So this is starting to get away from him. The only good news here is the cue ball, even if it cannons the red, should leave him some sort of shot at the 8 ball. Oh, he's hit the cushion first.
That was how thin it was.
Yeah. That was just one of the... Sometimes you see a visit at the table and you can just sort of sense and feel it getting away. You see these players when they're playing well, and you know 3-4 balls out, they've got it under complete control and they don't make mistakes from there. But this one, Aaron, it was just getting away from him for 2, 3, 4 shots on the trot.
And invariably that ends up costing you the further into the break that you go. And Shane here with a dream of a first opportunity. 5 reds here now, all in the open, no yellows as blockers really.
He may play a cannon here, doesn't have to, but he could do. If he does play the cannon, it's slightly risky, wouldn't be guaranteed to be on his next ball, but he would have safety control if he didn't. He has played the cannon and he hasn't got good position from it. He is in complete control in terms of, if he wanted to, he could play a pretty easy snooker here, but he could still take this one onto the bottom left, but he would run the risk of missing it. He would leave the yellow one potentially. We did see Shane in the last competition, and it's fair to say he didn't play his best stuff that night, although he was in a very, very tough group.
Yeah, I should say. Group of death, and it was one of the reasons why it was a group of death is because he was in it.
Yeah, exactly.
4 top players in the Champions League in that group. Just going to take this one on, I think. That's beautifully cued.
Yeah, confidently played as well. No thoughts of missing that, or what he would leave if he did miss that. It's just full-blooded. Take that difficult pot on. Now he's made it. He's in good shape. I don't know if the red next to the yellow goes to the bottom left, or if he has to take it to the top left. A few options with it. He's taking a much harder pot on here, so this is confident.
Yeah, that's why. He will back himself to pot just about everything. He's got a huge amount of self-confidence as Shane Thompson, and you need that with the way he plays the game as well. His nickname, the Safe Cracker, is earned after building a good reputation with money matches. He talks a good game, and he generally plays one as well, and he's come out pretty well there.
Yeah, just pulled up in time, a little bit fortunate to get that cannon rather than a fraction thinner. He's on absolutely nothing, but it's worked out for him. It's fair to say this has been a visit to the table where he hasn't quite got full control of the cue ball, but with all the yellows out the way, he's able to work it out and get to this 8 ball.
Never in doubt on the 8 ball. That's a really good clearance in the end from Shane Thompson. Considering he only had 1 yellow as a blocker, that could have been an easier clearance on reds, but he'll be pleased to get that start underway.
Yeah, I think he would have. He played a cannon that he didn't need to play. He took it on. I thought he would just try and make the clearance easier for himself. But as it turned out, it actually made it slightly trickier for himself.
Well, here is Shane Thompson. from Bristol, Southwest player. I think he's based near Taunton now, but a great record, 5-time UK Tour winner, as well as an England international and a 4-time world team champion off the back of that as well. Super consistent and a really dangerous player to draw in the first round if you're Aaron Davies.
Yeah, and you've already mentioned it. One of the big things that Shane does, like so many players actually, is he plays an awful lot of money matches, which attracts big crowds, big audiences, and he has a fantastic record in those matches. Well, the cue ball was tracking.
Yeah, got away with that one.
A little raise of the hand, but they did ping open for him, I have to say. I didn't know if the cue ball got kicked towards that corner or to go straight. No, it went straight towards it.
Yeah, he'll take that. He'll take that all day.
Great opportunity to get 2-0 ahead quickly here. Very similar to Aaron in the previous frame. No problems in terms of cannons or clusters to solve, just about picking that good route. Where he's lining this one up, sorry. I think he was hoping to be a touch straighter on this. Or he's going to play the plant now. I think he was probably playing straighter on it to the top corner. Get that one out the way and then you're on the one to the middle. But assuming that yellow at the top still goes to the top left, he's okay. Slightly risky for me when balls go to suddenly play one like that, so that you're sending a yellow towards a red. It could easily have got stuck behind that red, and that would have been a tough problem to solve. He does need to be careful when he plays on that yellow at the top of the table. So if he leaves it, the cue ball in the middle of the table, that means he's going to have to go very close to those reds on the right-hand side, and playing on your next ball could be tricky. So he wants to get really good position, get high enough up the table to make position onto his next yellow, or could even be potentially the 8 ball. A lot easier. Right, he's eyeing up the yellow into the middle of into the right centre pocket. I was wondering whether he might leave it for his last ball, which would have made position onto the 8 ball slightly trickier unless he was perfect on it. But he's going to leave the one at the top. And I think he's got too much angle.
Yeah, I think so.
He may just be, if he drops this in, he'll be going to the cue ball tracks towards the yellow, and then that leaves that half ball yellow that I was talking about. That means the cue ball's going close to the reds, which could cause him a problem. Can he top through and avoid it? Yes, he can. Well played. Still not easy. It's just gone on an extra inch or so, inch less, and it would have been really simple for him. And you can see he's looking at the line he'd take off the top cushion. It's going down the wrong side of the table. You may even be trying to get down to the bottom right-hand corner pocket, take the 8 ball into the bottom left. That's very dangerous, because if you come up short, you're going to snooker yourself. Catch a red at the top of the table, you're going to snooker yourself. Tough shot this.
Oh, he's played that really well. He's played that really well.
Yeah, that was brilliant. That really was. Had to play that with a fair bit of left-hand side to avoid the red on at the top of the table, and that just kills the pace of the cue ball off that top cushion. So to judge the pace, very, very good.
Never going to miss that one is Shane Thompson.
Frame.
Well, a great start for the safe cracker. He goes 2-0 up and couldn't wish for any more, really. An excellent counter clearance and a break dish. Super run out there. And he's looking pretty good for Aaron Davies. Not done an awful lot wrong apart from missed that one pot. Well, I think the real out of that came before it was the failure to land properly on it. He's got a chance to respond here though, and he'll be desperate to get himself back in contention. Still a long way to go in this match though.
Yeah, and Aaron's experienced enough now, been deep enough in enough of these tournaments to know there's only 2-0, 38 minutes on the clock, plenty of time. Just focus on the next opportunity that comes his way. He'll certainly want it to be in this frame though.
That's about as good a break as I have ever seen Aaron Davies hit.
Yeah, really got through that well. Big explosion of the pack. Wow. A bit like Shane in the previous break though. Cue ball going dangerously close to the top corner. You can see there with the quality of the strike, it wasn't absolutely perfect, yet he still generates a lot of power and gets that big split and makes a few balls. Well, if the last opportunity he had, or the first opportunity in frame one was good, this one's even better. One good positional shot to land nicely.
Extension call.
And he could run these out fairly quickly. Not surprisingly for me, using his extension right now, because this is the key shot. If he gets this shot right, it could become simple.
You only got a couple more reds to pot as well. That was how good a break it was.
And that is perfect. I think if he was picking it up with his hand, I don't think he'd change where he's put it. Land on that one in the middle of the table, which arguably the hardest to land on. If he's straight enough just to drop this in, then it's really simple. If he has to avoid the yellow or come on and off the cushion, then it could become a problem for him.
Well, I could see a little bit of a crowd in as well. John Chambers there on the right. We'll be seeing him a little bit later on. There's Dave McNamara sneaking in the background as well. Already competed in this competition.
Well, he decided he wasn't straight enough on that red in the centre. So took the one to the top of the table and judged that screw back beautifully. Once again, he's not quite straight enough. Controlled that beautifully as well. A little bit surprised that he didn't take the red that he's just played a shot sooner.
Very good evening, by the way, to those of you joining us live on Free Sports. Do apologise for some of the technical issues I think we've been having this evening. Not sure how many of you have been with us for how long, but it is delightful to have you with us for a great night here in the Ultimate Pool Masters. You've missed some great action as well. Shane Thompson counter-clearing and then break dishing against this man, Aaron Davies, who has just break dished to make it 2-1. The youngster from Oldham, former World Championship runner-up, that was last year, and a former real youth starlet, really, as an under-18 world and European champion. A really top-level player looking to make that next big step, win a big one. And he's gone pretty close in the last year or two to doing just that. 15 minutes into this match, it is 2-1 to the safecracker. Oh, is that going to come up dry? Would you believe it? Shane Thompson can't. That's a brilliant break, and this is such a good chance now for Aaron to go and square things up. Shane's caught these beautifully. Caught them better than his first break, which he made a couple of balls in.
The pack is really exploding open tonight. All four breaks, been massive breaks. Very unfortunate this time for Shane to be dry. Probably the toughest layout that we've seen as well. Red on the left-hand side, touching the cushion, that's slightly awkward. Oh, big surprise to see that first missed pot though from Aaron. I was about to say that the red at the top of the table also could be an awkward ball, but it's going to be Shane Thompson's problem to solve and not Aaron's.
Yeah, I'm really surprised he's missed that. Really surprised, and that solves the big problem on reds, really. Another one at the top of the table, but this awkward red really by the middle pocket now becomes not very awkward at all.
And the red at the top of the table, it could well be in the same situation as the one he's just played. It could be fairly comfortable to plant onto the one over the top right corner. It just depends if that one over the top right corner is right over the pocket or whether it's sitting more on the jaw. It could be sitting more on that right-hand jaw, making that plant trickier. Yeah, just looking from the overhead, and that red is sitting more towards the right-hand side of the pocket. You could still make the plant, but you have to be a little bit more precise. If he wanted to, he can take this red into the right centre pocket now, and the path of the cue ball won't be going too far away from the red at the top of the table. He's decided against it. He's still playing the cannon.
Shot. Oh, that's come out nice. He'll take that. He's got a little bit of work to land on it now. That's the only thing you would say. But in terms of the cannon and making that red available, done a great job. Still work to do, though. That's where he wants to leave this cue ball. Can he get across off this red here? Yeah, lovely. Really nice shot.
Yeah, that's really well done from Shane. Worked that one out. Decided the cannon was the right way to go. Played it well and judged it from length of the table perfectly. And I actually really like the pace he played the shot at as well. Didn't overthink it, or overhit it rather.
Shane's been at the top of his game so far. Yet to really make a mistake at all. Counter cleared in frame 1, break dished in frame 2. He looks on it tonight, and he'll need to be.
And what sort of angle does he have on this last red? Looks like he's got just enough to be able to use the bottom cushion and get the cue ball back to the same sort of line as he's on now. 8 ball in the centre. Yeah, perfect angle.
And the safe cracker goes 3-1 up. Great record as Shane Thompson, as Simon mentioned earlier, slightly underrated in terms of his ability as well. England international, 4-time world team champion with that England team. As well as a 5-time UK tour winner. He's not one to be messed with at all. Top player. Like his opponent. It's going to be a good game, this.
Yeah, I was just going to say, somebody that plays a lot of tournaments, travels around, plays a lot of the local tournaments, as many as he can. In fact, he was playing one this past weekend, which he managed to win in Swindon. And he is a winner. He's a guy that plays a lot of these tournaments, but a guy that wins a lot of these tournaments as well. And that's such a valuable thing to have for your confidence when you come into these big events.
Only 3 frames to 1.
Aaron's been breaking brilliantly tonight. Gonna need another one. Best cue ball he's hit, worst pack he's hit.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I remember from how he finished off the previous tournament. I feel like he cut break more in the previous tournament than he is tonight. Tonight he's coming in with that front ball power break.
I think it's a conscious decision, I really do. It's comfortably, and this is, again, a relative criticism. It's important to point that out because he's so good, Aaron Davies, but it's comfortably the weakest part of his game is his break. And if he can get it to a good level where he's consistently giving himself chances, he will win a lot more games than he'll lose because he's so good in open table. We would back him to take on most clearances. Clearly something he's been working on. And he's been a little bit unlucky there, I would say. This is a good chance again for Shane Thompson, though. Great opportunity, good first shot to cannon out the yellow. Can he make it stick? Got a little bit of work to do again with the cue ball, but it's been on a string so far.
Yeah, I'd say that wasn't the cannon exactly as he wanted it to. He should still be able to work these out. If he's straight on this one to the centre, then it's fairly comfortable in terms of positionally. He's got a little bit of angle. He's controlled that nicely. Just to come across the face of that yellow. Any contact on the yellow and he's on nothing. He's done well. And now he is in absolutely the perfect position.
It's been awesome so far. Shane Thompson really hasn't made a mistake. Can't be too critical for him not making a ball off his break because he hit it really, really well. That was just pure damn luck, but in open table he's been flawless so far. Hasn't had easy finishes either. He's had to control the cue ball really, really well. Is that the extension going on a 7x4?
Yeah, the cue ball's not that far down, but the reds are right underneath where he needs to cue, so he's just making sure there's going to be no problems with the shirt. I have to say that I completely agree with the level that Shane's playing at tonight, but that first frame, I don't think he quite had the cue ball control on a string like he has done since, and managing to get through that first frame has just given him the confidence just to relax, and he's now out there playing his best stuff.
Aaron's going to really have to work hard to come from behind here because Shane Thompson has started like a steam train. He's away, 4-1.
Frame.
3-frame gap built up.
And the problem that Aaron's got is that he's made 2 mistakes, but both of them have cost him a frame, and he'll feel like he should have made sure of both of them.
A reminder of what we've seen in the Masters so far. This was the first quarter of the Masters draw, and take a look at that last 16 group. Jordan Shepherd versus Chris Melling. Phil Harrison against Rob Chilton. That is now 5 weeks away, that foursome. Oh, give me a bit of that. Cannot wait.
It's going to be one very exciting night. This really is some lineup for the last 16 stage.
4 frames to 1.
Incredible.
Yeah, he's breaking all right.
Doesn't look like he's overhitting them either. He's just really driving it through the pack, and look how quickly these just ping open.
Aaron's made 2 mistakes tonight. He's out of position in frame 1 when he needed another 2-3 rolls of the ball, and he had a very, very comfortable final yellow and then the 8 ball. That cost him a frame. And then he missed an opening pot. It was an uncharacteristic one. It wasn't easy, but it was one you very much expected him to make. 2 mistakes, 4-1 down. That's what you can't do against a player as in form as Shane Thompson. And when you play Shane Thompson, you've got to assume he's going to be at this level. And he's turned up tonight in a big way.
Yeah, he's 4-1 down and staring 5-1 in the face, because this is another great chance. He needs one really good positional shot, and there's room, but it's the yellow next to the 8 ball. Needs to land on that to the top left. Top right from the overhead. Looks like he's got the angle to get there now, and he has. Landing on the cushion just slightly awkward. Limit his positional options. He's looking to see if he just drops this in, or whether he could just raise the butt of the cue and come back an inch or two. What would that leave in terms of angle on the yellow to the centre pocket? Might be able to use the top cushion. Or it's a slightly different angle.
Shot.
That is perfect.
going to have to be one of our biggest comebacks we've seen so far. I think if things stay as they are, for Aaron Davies to advance through to the last 32, tonight's final. Shane Thompson here, holding all the aces, and he has been ace so far. 3-frame lead, about to become 4. Shane Thompson makes it 5-1, and the safecracker is really, really playing well. Aaron Davies has got a huge job on his hands. This match continues when we return. Welcome back to the Masters. You've got just about enough time to watch Aaron Davies walk back to his chair, having wrestled his way back into this match. This is how it happens. Big moment for Shane Thompson, who had the first visit. Aaron broke dry, and he was that pot away, really, from winning the frame. The other two would have been fairly routine, but Shane with his first real mistake of the match. And Aaron Davies needed that frame so much, and he's won it. And now 3 frames all of a sudden looks a little bit more manageable. He might still need a little bit of help. It's Shane's break next.
5 frames to 2.
Yeah, that was a dry break from Aaron, and looked like Shane was just going to continue in the same way he'd been going all night long, but it was down to the position. He left himself slightly awkward on that ball, had to play a much tougher positional shot onto his next ball because of it, forced the miss, and Aaron said thank you. And stranger things have happened, and having a shot like that change a match.
God, what a break, though. What a break.
For Aaron, who sat in his chair, he's probably sat there thinking, okay, I've got one back there against the head, if you like, and all of a sudden you might get back into this hoping for a dry break, and Shane comes up with this, and Shane is absolutely, this is, for a player of Shane's ability, this is about as easy as it can get.
Invariably, that does tend to happen as well. They tend to come in multiples to moments like Shane's miss. Bad misses are often compounded with dry breaks, and Shane has played so well tonight.
Yellow ball's in play.
I feel like he's railing against that sort of karma. It's a brilliant, brilliant break.
It's amazing how much you see that in the pool world, whether you believe in momentum or not, but a player makes a mistake and all of a sudden that dry break follows it, and all of a sudden one mistake turns into 2, 3 frames, and then you're right back in a match. But that's not happened here, because that break from Shane was absolutely incredible. If he's absolutely dead straight, it's not, or just off straight the wrong way, it's not ideal. Straight would be okay, he can come back and leave the yellow from distance. If he's off straight the wrong way, you have to force it a little bit more, but there really isn't. I'm trying to build a bit of tension into it, but there really isn't a huge amount, so much room around this last yellow.
It's a very similar shot to the one that just cost him the last frame.
Once again, though, he's finished a long way short of perfect position, but the reds just aren't in the way for this shot. It's really nice because you can just really cue through this one, knowing that you're just going to use that left-hand side cushion, and you know it's one that you can really just cue nicely, and you know you're going to work out positionally.
Just knew he wasn't missing it a second time, did he? Shane Thompson to go 6-2 up, 4 from home, or 4 clear rather from Aaron Davies, 2 from home for Shane Thompson. And the way he's playing, you would not rule it out. Quarter 2 of the Masters. Carl Sutton, Sam Bircher, Josh Kane, Declan Brennan. One of those 4 will be a Masters semi-finalist. Great opportunity for all 4 there. We called that the most open section of the tournament. It wouldn't surprise you to see any of those 4 make their way to the semi-finals. They will all fancy it and all have genuine belief that they can make it through, which you don't necessarily always have as a player. You might have hope and you think, oh, if I play well, I'll do well here. But all 4 will really, really think I'm going to be a semi-finalist.
Frame 9.
Yeah, in a slightly different way to the 4 players in that top quarter of the draw. That second quarter is just as exciting. It's so even, it's so tough to call. 4 players that played fantastically well to get through, and it's going to be a brilliant night of pool.
Aaron just moving the cue ball slightly off centre. It's been a straight break. Oh, the 8 ball was nearly in as well. That'll spice things up all right. It's a good break from Aaron. Needed a ball, and he's got a ball. Great white ball 2. Don't think that 8 ball was ever going in. I think the red just knocked it the other side of the pocket, but I don't think it was ever landing in. It's going to be reds for Aaron, so he has got a little bit of work to do. Would have had to on either colour set. He's got a good angle here on this red, I think, to go into that yellow potentially. Or he could wait to play off the red that's next to it as well. He's going to play it now. I think he's come out all right, yeah.
I was going to say that's come out okay. For me, it's now attention turns to the bottom end of the table, and that red that's in the middle of the 3, the one nearest the 8 ball, or the one to the right of the 8 ball, I should say. If it goes through the gap of the red and the 8 ball, then it makes life really, really simple. If not, he has to get rid of the one nearest the pocket first and then slide that red past the 8 ball, which just complicates things a little bit. He's probably a little bit thinner on this than we first thought as well. Yes, he is. That's worked out okay.
Yeah, played that brilliantly, hasn't he?
Just see the cue ball just slide off that first cushion, just a fraction. Fairly new cloth out there. Can cause the cue ball to slide it a little bit.
Yeah, it's not seen a huge amount of action this table either since it was reclothed. It's essentially brand spanking new. He's having a good look at the bottom of the table here, Aaron Davies. I think the red closest to the right corner goes. Big question. I think we're about to find it answered here, whether the one on the left goes to the bottom left.
You saw him have a good look at it last time round. The fact that he's not tried to do anything with it before this point, well, there you go, he has got half a pocket. If you land right behind this, you'd expect him to make it. Just played that with a little bit of running side just to make sure he got away from the yellow. Far from a full pocket here, but there is enough room. Ooh. That was tight, but it wasn't as tight as Aaron's made it look there. Caught that black quite thick.
Yeah, he had to be really precise, but he's about a quarter of a ball off there, and that was inevitable. Shane's put him in a really difficult snooker.
Yeah, Shane's happy for this frame just to take some time to sort itself out now.
Yeah, absolutely. Look at the clock.
Yeah.
4-frame gap, 10.5 minutes remaining.
Yeah, for me that shot could have well cost Aaron his chance of getting back into this match, because if he makes the clearance there, 6-3, 10 minutes to go, he's still in with a chance. But now, I mean, it could be a little while before Shane clears these up. He could go for it now if he wanted to, play the yellow off the red and open things up, but does he really need to? That was a surprising miss for me. I know that Aaron's missed, what, 3 balls now in the match, and that was by far the hardest because that was tight, but he missed it. If that 8 ball wasn't there, that red would have gone in off the thick jaw, and he was trying to make it off the thin jaw, and it was quite a bad miss considering how behind the shot he was.
Foul. Ball in hand.
Shane has got a little bit of a problem though.
15-second shot clock.
If he wants to go and win the frames, he's got to free the 8 ball out.
Yeah, well, he can play the yellow, and he probably will do it now because he's got that one awkward yellow out, but play this yellow off the red, and that just get the red out the way, and then everything should be on. What? He's decided not to do it.
Might be off this one though.
I think if he was going to do it, he'd do it first shot, so he must have a different plan. I think the 8-ball and red plants, we could well play a shot into it soon. No, he's going to play it off now.
Open as you like now. Shane Thompson has been a man on a mission tonight. Aaron has made a couple of quite uncharacteristic mistakes, but what you would say is generally you wouldn't expect them to be so harshly punished, but Shane has played brilliantly.
Yeah, that start of the match, when we look back at this match, you know, and you look at the way it started, Aaron had that first chance, one that, you know, we're so used to seeing him take. When the balls get open and everything goes, you don't expect Aaron to make those sort of mistakes. You expect him to find a way, keep control of that cue ball, make the clearance. He didn't, and Shane come to the table and he found a way to make that counter clearance when it looked like it was just getting away from him, and he's just been flawless since. Okay, one mistake, but you know, he's really taken it to Aaron tonight.
Yeah, he certainly has. We just saw a glimpse there in the crowd as well of Ryan Davies, the younger of the Davies brothers, who was here last week, and he took a pretty tough beating as well. Not been the tournament for the Davies brothers so far. Aaron is not far away from being eliminated here. Shane Thompson is almost there, being almost flawless too. He looks in rude health in this Masters competition. This is a sort of performance where he beats almost anyone in the competition. This is, I think he's missed one ball. That's up there with anyone. The way he's played tonight, it really has been impressive.
Yeah, it really has, and it's why I say as good as Shane is, and people know how good Shane is, I say he comes in for me slightly underrated, because I think he can mix it with absolutely anybody in the world. As he gets this break all wrong, comes up dry.
Almost, he seemed to break that with a little bit less vigour, didn't he? I just wonder if that was in his mind a little bit, just to potentially chew some cloth. It didn't seem to be caught. He didn't seem to throw as much at that break as he has others.
I think he might have just lost his focus out there in terms of at 7-2 in front with only, well, when he broke off, 8 minutes left on the clock. I think he knows he's won this match, and you know, you could see him just having a chat as Aaron goes in off and fouls. You can see him having a chat with a few people in the crowd. I think he sort of almost feels like job's done. Whereas earlier on in the match, you saw him very, very focused and kind of not interacting with anyone around.
Not sure what Aaron was trying to play that, but he got it all wrong if so. Whatever he was trying to play.
Another layout where there aren't too many clusters. They've really opened up well tonight in terms of it's all been about the pattern you have to pick and controlling that cue ball around that pattern. There's been very few clusters to work out. I only really remember one or two cannons throughout the whole match. I know Shane came into this match, or he was frustrated after his last performance we saw on Free Sports when he lost on the first stage. You know, knows he didn't play as well as he absolutely can. Got off to a slow start that night against some great players and wasn't able to recover, whereas it's a completely different story. I wondered how he would play tonight, but being let off the hook in the opening frame, it's just completely freed him up, and he is just playing like he does week in, week out at tournaments now.
Yep, it's been almost flawless from Shane Thompson. A superb performance. And he's going to make it through to the last 32 and tonight's final. Beautifully done. Shane Thompson knocks out Aaron Davies A matchup that was a nightmare to call before it started. Shane Thompson was so good in making sure of that result. Almost flawless from him.
Yeah, brilliant performance built on the back of some very good breaking early, especially early on in the match. When you look at the stats there, 3 breaking dishes. Out of the 5 breaks he had, he made a ball 3 times, and all 3 times he's cleared them up. Really taking his first visit opportunities and punishing I think Aaron only made 3 mistakes, maybe 4 if you count that foul there at the end, and he punished all of them. And you know, that's the way to play Paul, and you know that if you do that, you can beat absolutely anybody.
Yeah, superb performance from Shane Thompson. We've still got plenty more for you though, as Zach Shepherd prepares to take on John Chambers. That is when we come back from the break. Welcome back to the Ultimate Pool Masters here on Free Sports. A superb opening performance in tonight's opening match by Shane Thompson, who runs riot through Aaron Davies, the second Davies brother to be knocked out in emphatic style in as many weeks. Not the tournament to remember for them, but potentially a tournament to remember for Shane Thompson. That was a superb performance, Simon.
Yeah, brilliant. As I said before the break, I think he'd be really frustrated with the way he played in the previous event, although we've talked about the fact he was in a really tough group, but he didn't really showcase what he can do, but he has there. You know, I've seen Shane play a lot from a similar part of the world, and he is a phenomenal player, and I've seen him play at that level so often, and it's great that we're getting to see that here on Free Sports, and when he plays like that, he's going to be a handful for absolutely anybody. Now,
we are being told that a few of you are experiencing some issues here on Free Sports tonight. We do apologise for that. All I can tell you is the right people are working on the right solutions for you. Hope you stick with us for tonight's second match, because it should be a cracker as well. Zach Shepherd takes on John Chambers. Here we go, then there is Zach Shepherd, looking very pleased to be here. He was in fine spirits earlier when I was talking to him. Likewise, John Chambers, lovely to have him with us as well. And Simon, you're really looking forward to this match for a number of reasons, and I know you know both these players fairly well personally, but John Chambers is someone we've not seen a huge amount of on Free Sports. Seen Zach in a couple of competitions. Really excited looking at John's CV as to what he can bring to this competition.
Yeah, when I saw the draw, I was so excited to see John in this competition. We haven't seen him. We haven't seen anything of him, I don't think, on Free Sports, but I've seen him play a lot over the last few years. You know, fantastic player. Some of the titles he's won, and on his day, he's an absolute handful for anybody. And the reason I think this is a very intriguing match, obviously John missed that opening pot, is that, you know, I think if both players turned up and played their absolute best, I'd give make John the favourite for the match. But you've got, in Zach, you've got a guy that's coming in with a lot of confidence and really working hard on his game. And then with John, you've got a guy that's coming in having not played much over the last few years, like a few, especially with COVID and everything going on around the world. But John's hardly played. His confidence has really taken a hit over the last couple of years, and he comes in with not much expectation, and normally he's a player that comes in with so much confidence, the belief that he's going to win, the belief he can beat anybody. So it's going to be fascinating to see how he gets on out there. I did speak to Zach last week. He's fairly local to this venue, and he came in to watch and spoke to him after the show, and he said that he's just been putting a lot of time in, working really hard, and he's never felt more confident than he does right now.
He's got a decent track record before that as well. Really solid player, Welsh international. Very involved with the organisational side of things as well for Welsh A-ball. Loves the game, and I think when you've got that love for it, it can become a little bit easier to devote so much time to it as well.
Yeah, he really does absolutely love the game. He really does. He plays tournaments every weekend if he could, and he absolutely tries to. Watches everything there is to watch as well. Travels around, plays all cue sports as well. Loves them all. Just slightly overhit that positional shot. Wasn't a good line that he picked out there. He can still cut this back. It's thin, and the tricky thing is holding that cue ball to stay on this 8-ball can easily overrun this next shot.
Yeah, this is a tough one now.
His margin for error onto the 8-ball isn't huge. Massive shot. We saw in the first frame how big the first frame became.
Just had the legs, but he's going to be snookered, I think.
Difficult to tell. He looks, well, we only saw a brief glimpse of him, but he looks fairly happy. But from our main camera angle, it looks like he's gone too far.
Yeah, surely no way. Oh, it's tight, you know, I think.
I think he can double it. I don't think he can pot this. It'd be a big surprise if he could. There you go, he could, but has he made the double? No. And the reason I said I thought this was a big moment, or could be a big moment in the match, is because John's made a mistake in this match, in this opening frame, and wasn't punished. And now Zach's made a mistake. Can John punish him? Oh, we could pot the 8-ball here.
Oh, not quite to be for John Chambers, and Zach Shepherd is certainly going to hoover this opportunity up, make no mistake about it.
And there it goes. So 2 chances at the table for John Chambers, not able to take either of them, but it's Zach Shepherd who manages to get that first frame on the board with his second chance. I said John came into this match with very little match practice, and his confidence quite low, and that opening frame could hurt him because he's missed a couple of chances. Well, before we get on with our next frame in this match, we can go down and get an interview with the winner of our first match. Shane Thompson's talking to Stephen Jameson.
Yeah, he certainly is. Shane, that was some performance, mate. How do you feel after that one?
Yeah, no, I felt good, yeah. I was practicing before and I didn't feel there, but when I got involved, and yeah, I queued well, felt good, and yeah, happy to win. One missed ball
Through the entire match. It was almost flawless from you. Did that first frame when you were let in by Aaron, few iffy positional shots, but you're okay because you had the whole table to go at. That frame seemed to really settle you down, and from then the cue ball was on string.
Yeah, it was a bit of a silly finish to go for, really, like some of the shots I played, but yeah, no, I thought I was go for it, settled down, and it set the tone for the rest of the match.
We did see you in the Champions League. You were put into the group of death, not the performance you wanted in that competition, I know. Was that an extra motivator coming into this one to really show us exactly what you can do?
Yeah, I was saying to Zach outside, I was a bit nervous last night. I didn't go to sleep till about 3 o'clock in the morning, but no, I'm just happy to show what I can do, obviously on the big stage.
And obviously, I know you know these two guys pretty well at the moment as well. Any preference on who you want to play in the final?
Nah, they're both good players, so I'm not fussed who I play. So
I wish you all the very best luck in it.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Back to you, Si.
Yeah, great to see that performance from Shane Thompson in our first match. It really was fantastic. A dry break from Zach Shepherd here in frame number 2, and another chance for John. That red's just come down the table, so the cue ball's going to be going on and off the cushion here, harder to control. Oh, he's controlled it really well. He does need to play one more good positional shot going up the table onto that last ball at the top.
Yeah, good opportunity here for John Chambers. It's been an iffy start, shall we say, from him, but if he can get settled by winning this frame, you just get the sense we'll start to see the best of him.
Yeah, I really do feel, having a good chat with him before the match, that him being able to settle down out there is huge. Having not played much over the last couple of years, if he can get this finish, it really could settle him down.
That's a lovely shot.
Does he have the angle he needs? Can he come straight back? Well, he's getting down with it quickly, so I think he must have. Yeah, straight back and across, a little bit short. He can overhit that by a lot. And he's come up short.
Pretty makeable double though. Great shot from John Chambers there. One apiece, game on. And hopefully that's a nerve settler. The man from Liverpool, great shot this from John Chambers. Recovered well from that initial loose positional shot. First frame was not what he would have wanted. That is far more like it.
Yeah, that could be a big moment in this match. Settle John down, get his confidence going out there. I do like, he does have a great style at the table. He didn't land nicely on that 8 ball, but he didn't show any frustration. He just got down and calmly knocked in a double.
Yeah, a player we've not seen a huge amount of in the last couple of years. I was briefly chatting to John earlier and he said he was really looking forward to it, but in terms of match practice, this, I think he was saying it was his first competitive match in about 18 months, which is a long time without. Of course, it's not a story that's uncommon in the last couple of years, with everything that's been going on. But a great chance for him to get back into it, and a player whose CV really jumps off the page, doesn't it? The titles that he's won, the accolades that he's achieved, really do stand up to just about anyone, really.
Yeah, you know, European champion a couple of times, national champion a couple of times. You know, he's won some big titles. Won an awful lot with England. Been an England stalwart over the last few years.
Talk about international stalwarts, then Zach Shepherd will rival anyone for that. Lives in Stoke-on-Trent at the moment, but a very proud Welshman. I think he's judged that one okay. Looking at his face, I think that's not what he was intending. Difficult to tell where he left that white ball as to whether he wanted to be below or above the red. In the end, he's sort of ended up with a bit of neither. He's got to be careful here.
Yeah, he's got to play around with the reds, which is really awkward for him. Oh, that's a lovely cannon. So easy to knock a red in the way or to land up behind a red there. Perfect cannon. And that should make the rest of this finish, assuming this one goes in. He's looking at it very closely.
I'm not sure.
From that angle, it looks very tight. Oh, we just brushed off it, and actually, because he's moved that yellow just a fraction, it's making this next one thinner. So I thought it was going to be very simple. He's still got some work to do here.
Yeah, I wonder if he may even take the one up to the top pocket. He's going into these yellows here, got to be careful. I think he'll just about take that.
Yeah, I think the reason for the shake of the head is he'd rather leave the yellow over the middle pocket for his last ball, so that then you're just dropping it in, you're on the 8 ball to the top corner. He's very thin on the yellow to the top left now. Probably not a good choice of shot. I quite like your choice of taking the yellow to the top corner. You make that pot, you win the frame, because if he does that, the cue ball was natural. Was a tough pot though. So he's comfortably landed on this yellow, but that's not where the work stops here. Has to play a good positional shot onto this 8 ball. Having come unstuck onto the 8 ball in his opening opportunity in frame 1. Starting to fear the worst here, or he could be. Big shot. He's played for the double. Didn't risk trying to come twice across the table and land on that 8 ball.
What a clearance. Played that so well. Let's have another watch of this. Back-to-back doubles to finish frames. Love that from the boys. This is going to be a great match, I have a feeling. Here is Zach Shepherd then. As mentioned, lives in Stoke-on-Trent at the moment, but very much a Welshman. Under 23 Welsh champion once upon a time. Has dabbled with other forms of the game as well. Took a 17th place at the World Chinese 8-Ball Masters, which is a performance really not to be sniffed at all, with the depth in that competition. Good solid player, and as Simon mentioned, he's feeling in the best form that he's maybe ever been in. One to keep an eye on as this match continues. That's another great break. Really is.
We saw both players in our first match going for that front ball break, and both players in this match going for the cut break. And we were seeing a lot more success in the opening match on the break than this one, but that is a lovely split. That is how to cut break.
Yellow ball's in play.
Just nudges the yellow far enough. For a second there I thought it was going to sit on the cushion and be awkward, but it's okay. So he has another table where everything goes. Now it's about picking that pattern.
The yellows were always all there for Zach Shepherd as well. It just needed working out this one.
It helps him if the yellow second nearest the right centre pocket goes past the one that's over the pocket. If he plays it as a plant, then that yellow could then get behind the 8-ball. If this drops in, it really helps. He could get through to the one over the pocket first, and that's why he took the one over the pocket first. But he hasn't played.
Yeah, I don't think that's where he wanted to be though. That's an issue. He's now actually got a really tough shot. Because if he takes the yellow to the top left, those reds are going to become a real problem very, very quickly. Yellow to the bottom right is tough.
Yeah, he's overhit that previous shot by quite some distance. You see where he's pointing his cue there. That's
Best
where he
part
wanted
foot,
to be.
really.
Yeah, and when you're only moving it, probably only wanted to move the cue ball about a foot and a half, and he's overhit by quite a huge percentage.
He's gone bottom left, and that's a pretty decent pot, but he's been a bit unlucky with the cannon. Little bit unlucky, and he's on absolutely nothing.
Needed to avoid the yellow altogether. And that was all to do with the previous shot. Just got that previous shot all wrong. We saw in the previous match how good that Shane Thompson played, and it was all about that cue ball control, because it was a similar sort of layout. Shane had just a lot of layouts like the one that Zach had here, where it was about picking that good pattern, that good route, and it made it look simple, and this game isn't simple.
No, as I rediscover every time I take to the table. I watch all these top players play, it inspires me to get into action. I just remember how ridiculously difficult a game it is. Chance then for John Chambers to do to Zach Shepherd what he had done to him in that first frame.
Not a very easy chance. There it is a chance. A couple of problem balls. The red that he's nearest to now, I'm not sure if that's got a pocket to the top of the table, whether he has to try and land on it into the centre pocket, which is difficult. And this is a tough pot as well. Drops that one in nicely enough.
It's a great chance this now. Still a little bit more work to do though. She's starting to feel it, I think, with the cue.
Oh, that camera angle there shows that red does go. So the red I was just slightly worried about absolutely goes, no problem. In fact, he's leaving it for last ball, just to try and land on that 8 ball in the centre pocket.
For 2-2. A wonderful opportunity. This game could be an absolute cracker. It's just heating up, isn't it? I think it might go the absolute distance. John Chambers, the man from Liverpool. We talked about his CV there, Simon. It's phenomenal, really. Really does stack up against so many players. Just a big question with John is his current form just been so short of match practice and of competition. You just don't know. And we've seen that sort of coin flip on a few players where we know their pedigree, but have they still got the sharpness? And quite often the result is really up in the air because you just don't know. We've seen players turn up for the first time in a year and play just like they always have, and we've seen players really struggle. You just don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah, I absolutely. We've seen it go both ways, really. Especially, you know, John came in. One of John's biggest weapons, notoriously, has always been his confidence. The way he, you know, just has that belief at the table, that dominance at the table. And, you know, he's coming in with question marks over whether he, you know, he still got it because he hasn't played in such a long time. That's why I thought the opening frame where he missed a couple of chances might hurt him, but he responded with taking his next 2 opportunities. One thing I would say is so far 3 breaks and all 3 of them have been fairly poor.
That's something that can suffer though, isn't it, when you are short of that match practice and practice in general. First thing to go is the break because it's the one that relies the most on sort of that natural timing.
Oh, another miss from Zach this time.
Has he left it safe? Has he got away with it?
No, I think he's left a yellow in the middle, or at least a plant into the middle pocket. Fairly comfortable plant. And it's just going to be that one yellow where it needs a little bit of attention. Yellow in amongst those 3 reds in the bottom half of the table. Could play for it in the centre pocket or even a top left pocket. May need a cannon of some sort.
He actually missed that red by a little way. That's not a good shot from John. He missed that red by a little way, Zach. And I just think he was just paying a little bit too much attention to the cue ball, wasn't he? And trying to keep it on angle for those reds at the bottom of the table. Didn't get the pot right at all. And now John's got a little bit of work to do because he's knocked that yellow a little bit safer. Now much tougher to land on. That's a good shot.
Yeah, and he was able to land on the awkward one at the bottom of the table as well, so he created a slight problem at the top, but he's able to solve one at the bottom. If that yellow at the top of the table goes to the top right, then it's not as bad. Looks like it does. It looks tight, but I think it does. The fact that he's come round to this side of the table, to the right-hand side of the table, maybe it doesn't. We'll soon find out. It does go to the top right. Just a shade short of place. Is he straight enough on this just to be able to screw back towards that last yellow? He wants to be fairly straight on it. Oh yeah, nicely done. Nicely controlled. Would have been better to avoid the cannon on the red, but this is still okay.
Taking these out really, really well in the end, John Chambers. Thought he'd given himself one more problem than he actually had with that yellow at the top of the table, but as it eventually emerged, he was absolutely okay. Let's take a look at then this quarter 3 draw of the Masters. This is the one we're currently in. Of course, Shane Thompson has advanced past Aaron Davies if you're just joining us. Who will join Simon Fitzsimmons and Gav Robinson, who will play Craig Waddingham? And if, I tell you what, if Craig Waddingham plays in the last 16 with the same level that he produced last week, whoever ends up playing, and whether it's Shane Thompson or one of these lads, they are going to have their hands full. One of the most impressive displays we've seen in the whole tournament.
Yeah, no doubt. We've seen some brilliant performances, especially in the group finals of this competition so far, and some from the very, very best and biggest names in the game, but nothing better than that performance last week from Craig Waddingham. Absolutely fantastic. Dominant, I think, is the best way to describe it.
And that was almost an example of what I was saying earlier, where you took a player like Craig Waddingham, he's barely swung his cue, it feels like he was telling us in over a year, and then showed up at this event and just absolutely demolished it.
Yeah, it was brilliant, wasn't it? Really was top draw stuff. Best break of the night so far for Zach Shepherd, best break in this match. He's missed a few opportunities, first visit chances, but this is one where he can go a number of different ways, because I feel like he's getting lost with his pattern play and his cue ball control. Well, there's a number of different ways you can go here, and a little bit more margin of error. Well, that's not ideal. Wanted to slide by that red. Still solvable though, still has a route out here. Ooh, if he avoids that kiss on that red, it's perfect.
Yeah.
If he's straight in on that red to the top left-hand corner, then it would have just been straight shots all the way through. But he's still absolutely fine. It's just a little bit more work. The fact that he wasn't straight enough on that red to the centre pocket made things really awkward. I thought he could still just about drop it in off the thick jaw and hold for that red to the top of the table, but he couldn't. And this is the pattern of the match repeating itself. Zach potting himself into trouble.
Can he get out of it? There's your answer. Yes, but also no. This is now the only shot he's got on is a really horrible plan.
Yeah, and I think he'll take it on. I know that you could say it's a really easy snooker to brush off the red and leave the white welded to the red at the top of the table, but if John gets out of it, John's massive favourite to win the frame, and I think with less number of yellows on the table, John would get out of it, or you'd expect John to get out of it. So the plant's the right shot. He's just missed it.
It was such a hard shot. It really was.
The other reason I like the plant over the snooker here is the fact that at least you put pressure on this next pot. You've got a red over a pocket. If John misses this, you're back in. If he doesn't, then you're going to lose the frame. But you were going to lose the frame anyway, or you expect to lose the frame. John's still got work here, of course.
Been impressed with John so far since that first frame, which was iffy at best. He's settled, and he's starting to look more and more comfortable as the frames go on. I'm going to play a little snooker there.
Interesting choice of shot from John. I was wondering how he was going to go about that finish, because you didn't want to leave, or I wouldn't have wanted to leave the two yellows at the top of the table for my last two balls, because one blocks the other unless you're going to play a double. But he's decided the snooker's the way to go. Get cue ball in hand if you can. But the problem you've got here, if you're John Chambers, is if
the red's over the pocket.
Well, not just that, but if Zach gets out of this, then you've got nothing to go at. And there is a red over the pocket, so even if Zach hits a red here and doesn't pot one, he's still in good shape.
Risk pays off. Cue ball in hand, and he now has huge control over this frame. Well, that was the gamble, wasn't it? That was the calculated risk that he took. And Zach came really close to hitting both of those reds in the end.
Now John gets to place the cue ball anywhere on the table and allows himself to give the perfect angle on this yellow at the top and develop the yellow further down.
Has he been a bit unfortunate here and landed that yellow plumb in front of the next one he was going to play? I think he has. I think he might have to take this yellow down the rail. We'll see. Yeah, I think he does.
Yeah, we saw Shane play a shot similar in the opening frame of his match, and he was able to solve the problem, but it caused him a problem. John's done the same thing, didn't have to move that yellow, could have left it where it was and worked his way back round to be able to pot it down the rail, but decided to move it. And yes, he's a touch unfortunate, but these things can happen.
So he's got the yellow in the triangle area as well, which is probably a little bit easier than the one on the rail. Certainly a lot more cue ball control. Neither are an easy pot though. And he knows that should he miss, those reds at the top of the table are gimmies. 5 seconds left to play it. Just in time and nails the pot. Wowee, that's impressive from John Chambers, I tell you.
Just for a second there, I thought John had completely forgotten about the clock. He used his extension and he was down into the beeps, the final 5 seconds before he even got down on it.
Oh, and then he goes and misses the easy one. If you were going to miss one, you wouldn't have thought it would be this. He's right behind this ball down the rail. And he's just got it wrong. He has just got it wrong. Wasn't expecting that at all.
He hasn't left it particularly easy for Zach.
I was going to say, can he see the potting angle here? And this is a really thin cutback.
I think he can make the cutback, but he can't hold for the red at the top of the table.
Yeah.
Cue ball will be doing some mileage here. Pretty sure he can cut this back though. Oh, he's not taking it on, so maybe not. This could be a safety shot though.
Yeah, just wonder with. Oh, that was a clever shot. Is he saying stop or is he saying sorry? I can't quite work it out whether it's a bit of an accident or if it's a clever shot.
A bit of both, I think. He was pretty much relying on luck in terms of landing on the next red, and also the cue ball double kissed the red into the pocket. He didn't quite get the cue ball right there. He got that shot not as played really to pot it over to the top left. Very fortunate to land on the red as easy as he has.
As he landed on the 8 ball, Zach Shepherd is making a meal of this frame. Nowhere near it. Don't think it was such a difficult double, that really was.
Yeah, and he's quite a long way off this as well, but he was also playing the cue ball, so he was almost playing that in a sort of defensive way. Played the cue ball back to that top cushion.
Yeah, it's quite a sensible shot in a way. This is a tough pot for John Chambers, much tougher than the one he missed. Naturally puts it in, just holds the white ball up.
Wow, that's so close.
I thought that was in fully.
I only followed the yellow to start with. Great pot, but
Nails the next one as well.
that will really hurt. Zach Shepherd sat in his chair there because he had watched that cue ball going towards that corner and thought it was in.
After 6 frames, John Chambers with a 2-frame advantage, 4-2. He leads. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with you for the resumption and the conclusion of this one. Welcome back to the Ultimate Pool Masters here on Free Sports. Zach Shepherd and John Chambers have been going at it in a really messy frame since you left us. John may have bought the break, ran out of position a couple of times, And Zach Shepherd now has got the chance to go and win the frame. And this probably has to go if it's Zach Shepherd.
Just looking to develop the 8 ball there. Nice cannon. Big frame really for Zach Shepherd. Difference between 5-2 and 4-3 at this stage is huge as we fast approach the shorter shot clock portion of the match. One positional shot really to play here for Zach when he pots these 2 at the top and travels down the table. It doesn't look much, but that yellow being over the bottom right hand corner just makes things trickier than they would be otherwise. This is actually a really big shot. He was just dropping this in, you wouldn't expect him to miss it, but he's got to force this. Yeah, nice shot. Has he come far enough?
There's your answer.
Yeah, it's amazing. It looks so simple, all the balls in the open, but that yellow just being over the corner pocket, just blocking off one pocket for those reds. The way they were lined up has caused some issues. Cue ball rolls another roll, he's fine. If it goes another, well, 3 foot, he's fine. Such is the frustration. You've got a big margin for error, but you come up a long way short. Oh, great shot.
What a cut. Oh, and he did knock the 8 in as well. What a result for Zach Shepherd. Wow, what a shot. What a shot that is. Amazing. And the 8 ball's a dolly. Zach Shepherd needed to win this frame, and he has won this frame. John Chambers shows a bit of appreciation for it as well. What a shot this is.
Almost doesn't look possible when you look at the overhead replay there. That's incredible. It's one of the best pots we've seen in the competition so far, and he did it when he absolutely needed it the most. That's made a massive difference to this match.
Oh, this is right on the edge, this match, isn't it? You really don't know which way it's going to go. 11:40 and ticking. 3-4, Zach Shepherd's break, and he tied up heading into the 15-second shot clock. Needs a ball, gets a ball. Good chance here, this as well. Great chance.
Yeah, last couple of breaks from Zach have been brilliant. Eight ball's going to be slightly tricky. Going for reds.
Red ball's in play.
Yellows would have been tricky to get to the 8 ball, although there'd have been a chance. If the 8 ball goes to the bottom left corner past that yellow, then it's not too bad, but if not, he may well have to move it. I don't think it goes in the left centre pocket, or in that camera angle there, you can just see it's very tight.
It really is.
It's very
just
tight,
about goes to this bottom corner pocket, but landing on that is... You'd want to be right behind it, wouldn't you?
Yeah, getting right behind it shouldn't be too much of a problem for him if he leaves the red over the top right-hand corner, which he can absolutely do now. So if that black does go, then he should be able to land perfect on it. I'm assuming he is going to take it on. It looked very, very tight, but the perfect opportunity to move Well, you can see there he's moved the yellow out the way, so he's going to go for the 8-ball into the centre pocket instead, which again it looks a tight position to land on, but because you've got that red to the top right hand corner, it's, you know, you should be able to get there comfortably enough.
15 seconds.
I like the way that Zach's worked this one out.
Extension called.
Yeah, extended call on this one, just to make sure. 15-second shot clock now in operation. There we go, 4 each.
Frame.
Thought it might go down to the wire right off the very first couple of frames, and well, my opinion has not been changed. 9 minutes and change remaining. John Chambers has been pegged back as we take a look at our final quarter of the Masters draw. This is all we've got left now after this week. 4 more weeks of group stages. Next week we've got Neil Raybone joining us. Can't wait to see him. Arfan Dad and Brian Halcrow, Stevie Dempsey should give us a great battle there. How about Scott Gillespie, John Rowe? That'll be a brilliant battle. And Michael Hill, Sean Chipperfield might tie the rounds.
Frame
Still
9.
to come too.
John Chambers to break. 4 frames all.
Yeah, I'm not
Michael
sure.
Hill,
how you-
who's announced as an ultimate pool professional in the last week.
Yeah, exciting stuff coming from Ultimate Pool as they get closer to their first event or series or tour event, whatever we're calling it, in a few weeks' time. We're really looking forward to that.
Yeah, 4 events, 32 top players.
Red balls in play.
Announced 4, I think, so far. Michael Hill was the headline name, but we've also had Carl Sutton confirmed, Sean Story and Rob Chilton. It's not a bad foursome to start with, let me tell you. And I've heard some vicious rumours that some of the names are very, very good for still to be announced as well. Can't possibly confirm though.
Yeah, no, it should be a fascinating event. Really looking forward to seeing all the announcements, and actually as we get closer and closer to that event, it's great to see big sponsorship coming in for this series as Ultimate Pool continue to grow. Players starting to play for the sort of prize pots that they should be.
Called.
They're only going to go one way from here.
Zach Shepherd with the first chance in this frame then. It's a good chance. That's a great pot. I think this one goes up to the top left. And this should be a fairly simple run out from here.
Brilliant stuff from Zach Shepherd.
Frame.
Yeah,
Really
3
was.
in a row. What a time to do it as well. When you were 4-2 down with 15 minutes left. What a time to whip out 3 in a row.
Yeah, 4-2 down, and that really horrible, amazing cutback that he played when it looked like he was going to throw away a frame that he should win. He goes and makes that cutback, wins the frame, and then he's gone break dish, reverse dish, and you see John shrugging his shoulders going, what can I do?
Still got a smile on his face though, he's enjoying himself out there. Here's John Chambers. It's nice to see. Zach Shepherd just looks like he's feeling it a little bit. He looks so intense and concentrated.
Leading 5 frames.
Yeah, he's made a couple of sloppy positional errors early in this match, but he absolutely looks like he's playing his best stuff now. And he's definitely breaking the better of the 2 players, that's for sure. The splits off his breaker have been much better. And he has made A ball off the break 4 out of 5 times. And this is another great layout. This should be 4 in a row here for Zach Shepherd. Could well be the easiest of them all, really, when you look at this layout.
Red ball's in play.
A number of different ways he could go.
It's amazing how different it could have been. 4-2 with John breaking. So Shepherd was almost staring down the barrel a little bit.
It's amazing.
Turnarounds.
We said it was the difference between 5-2 and 4-3 was huge. Well, it's been emphasised here by the way that Zach has played since. John hasn't touched the table since, other than that dry break.
2 clear at this juncture could be massive. Still time left in this match though. Even if Zach does go 2 clear, which he should, John to come back and pull this one out of the fire. He's going to have the next break. He's going to need to make a ball from it.
Oh dear.
Oh no, Zach. Oh, Andy Cragg's in the house. I think he just put his face in his hand there.
Yeah, he just finished slightly awkward angle, couldn't decide whether to punch it through. Oh, he's just for a second there I thought he made it off the cushion. Yeah, but going back to that shot, Zach was just off perfect. Couldn't decide whether just to hold it, really nip it and hold the cue ball, or whether to punch it through for the 8 ball in the opposite middle. In the end, he was betwixt and between and did nothing.
What a chance now for John Chambers. Mentioned how he has the next break and he needs to make a ball. Well, he could go into that now level with less time on the clock as well, which is a huge opportunity for John Chambers. These have to go, of course. Shouldn't be any reason for them not to.
Some frames just feel bigger than others, and when you sat in your chair, position that John Chambers was in, you had absolutely already written the frame off. That you wouldn't, not even your wildest dreams were you expecting to come back to the table. So you're mentally preparing yourself for a 6-4 deficit, and all of a sudden, you're going to go 5-5. It is huge, although he's left this one short.
He just didn't pay that shot enough care and attention for me. This is horrible. So much so rather he's played the safety. This is a gamble because if Zach hits it, he's going to go very, very close to potting it. John played that safety in no time at all. Oh, Zach going safety first. Oh, he didn't go far away.
It's a good leave though for Zach Shepherd.
Yeah, you take that, don't you?
Whilst I don't mind John's choice of shot in terms of playing the safety, he absolutely needed that yellow to come closer to the middle pocket to give him an advantage.
Oh, and he's left this. He has left this. This is such a big shot. Can he cue it? No. Is he going to fluke it? No. And what a let-off for John Chambers. What a let-off.
This still needs to be made though.
Didn't doubt it, did you, for some reason? You just felt like a shot like that, after a miss like that, was inevitable. And John Chambers does level things up with 2:57 left on the watch. He's got the next break. What a chance. These are the shots that change the frame, maybe change the match.
Yeah, you could see when Zach was sat in his chair shaking his head, he knows how bad a mistake he's made not to win this frame. And, okay, this looks a bad miss, but there was some serious pressure on that. There was pressure on it from his own doing because he knows he should have won the frame previously, and all of a sudden he's been given a second chance, and wasn't surprised to see it missed just the way it had gone.
just the way that we saw it right down the barrel there as well, almost in a weird way, it puts its own kind of pressure on the shot as well, because all you're thinking there as a player is, I just need to cue this straight.
Yeah, and he cued right across it. Well, John's changed his break, and I think that's a good decision. I don't think he's broke very well going for that cut break all night long, and he's gone for a front ball break this time, and he's hit it really well. Best break for him, and an opportunity
Time to do it.
Yeah.
What a time to do it. 2.5 minutes. He can eat up a lot of time here, and I'd recommend that. He can put himself 6-5 up. Obviously has to prioritise winning the frame. That comes above all else. But if as a side quest he can chew up as much of this 2 minutes 20 as possible, he will give himself a brilliant chance of winning this match.
Well, this is where John not having a huge amount of experience playing in timed matches might hurt him. He may not, certainly wouldn't have experienced having to waste time on the clock, let it run down.
Has called his extension though, which is a good decision. Wanted to use that in this frame, that's for sure.
Has to swerve this, I think. Yeah, just a fraction. Yeah, done well.
You can tell by the way he's approaching this, he's not really thinking about the clock. Don't blame him. Difficult thing to do when you're playing on 15 seconds. It's very easy for us to sit here and say, you want to use as much of that as possible. Zach Shepherd is just hoping for one chance. He may well still get one. John won't win the match outright here off this frame. There will be time left on the watch. 2 pots away from a lead, but only a lead. Zach Shepherd will have a break. John Chambers is just going to make sure, and does so. Clock is going to stop at 56 seconds. It's 6-5 John Chambers. The good news if you're Zach Shepherd is that he's not reliant here on a golden break. 56 seconds is not a lot of time, but you can clear the table in that.
Yeah, he's not relying on the golden break, but he has been breaking well tonight with the cut break and getting that 8-ball in motion all night long, so it wouldn't surprise me to see the golden break just because of the way he's been breaking. He may have enough time for a very quick break and dish, but I guarantee he is still thinking about that mistake when he should have gone a couple of frames in front and all but won the match, and now he's all but out if he doesn't make a ball here.
Trailing 6 frames to 5.
At minimum needs a ball. And needs to fly. 8 balls in motion. It was tracking up towards that corner pocket, and he hasn't made a ball. And John Chambers here can just chew clock.
Extension called.
Yeah,
Just
that's
take
the
a look at
match.
these reds. There's enough here to eat up the time, isn't there? I don't think Zach's can come back to the table.
Yeah, there's enough reds to pot. No, he's not going to go for the pots. He's going to play the safety, but he's still done enough.
Yeah, Zach concedes. That'll do the match. John Chambers sneaks through. A brilliant performance in the end. He's done so well to get through that. That was a really, really tight game. Full credit to both players for putting on a really, really good battle. But it's John Chambers who gets through by the skin of his teeth to go through to tonight's final, as he will take on Shane Thompson. Well, he's been short of match practice, Simon. He's been in a match there, that is for absolute sure. He's got to be absolutely buzzing with that, hasn't he?
He has, and he's not going to have much time to let that sink in, and he's just going to have 4 or 5 minutes just to reset and go again. Yeah, really pleased for John. He started off a little bit shaky there, but then he seemed to find his rhythm, and all of a sudden it was just that one frame in the middle. It turned the match completely, and it looked like it was going to be Zach's match, but big mistake from Zach. That's going to be a tough one to take, and it's going to be thinking about that one for a long, long time before we get to see him again in the next competition.
Yeah, I think so. Tough one for Zach, but a great one if you're John. We'll speak to him, and we will have tonight's final when we return. Welcome back to the Ultimate Pool Masters here on Free Sports. Our final is set, Simon. John Chambers against Shane Thompson. A great match in prospect here. We're so pleased for John, and we would have been for Zach as well. Two players who've been so short of match action. But they've made it through to the final, both John and Shane. Shane was superb earlier. John's going to have to play really, really well, isn't he?
He is. I am pleased for John that he's made it through, but I think he's going to have to go up a gear and try and find somewhere near his best, because Shane was in brilliant form, and going on the performance of those first two matches, you know, you'd make Shane a decent price favourite for this final. But strange things happen in sport and in pool, that, you know, a match can turn around, and it could be John that turns up and buzzes and takes out a few finishes and gets himself through in this final as well.
Well, let's hear from the man who just qualified into tonight's final. Here's John, who I spoke to in the break. John, a massive congratulations. You've just sneaked through to tonight's final against Zach Shepherd. First of all, how do you feel about it?
Yeah, really happy. I was just saying, I've been nervous since I entered, and then as soon as I started playing, I was really relaxed. You know, some sloppy ones, but I just got the job done, you know.
We know you've not had much match practice at all. How nice was it just to be back out there, first of all, just to be playing any kind of match?
Yeah, it's great. It's been months for everybody. It's been a difficult time, but yeah, it's been sound just to start playing again.
Fair amount of support out there for you as well. That must have helped you along a little bit as well.
Yeah, definitely helps. I prefer a crowd. I prefer the shouting, and even shouting at me. It doesn't bother me. I prefer it, you know.
And a great final in prospect here against Shane Thompson. He played really well earlier. You know you'll have to bring your A game.
Yeah.
Aren't you excited for it?
I'm really up for it, mate. Yeah, I can play better than that. So.
Well, we look forward.
And I'm going to have to.
Absolutely, we look forward to it. Best of luck.
Okay, cheers.
He's going to have to, he says, and he'll certainly be hoping to do so as well. He looks absolutely buzzing to be out there, John Chambers, doesn't he? It's all sinking in for him. Best of luck to him. He's going to need it. Shane was superb earlier. Really pleased to see Shane play well as well, given his performance in the last event too. Two players who have done so well to get to this stage. Only one, though, can go through, and a great match in prospect.
Yeah, it certainly is. A bit of banter between the two players before they start. John's a great lad off the table, great lad on the table as well. But if Shane gets off to the sort of start the way he finished in that last match, then this is going to be tough for John to get into the match, you think. He needs to find his A game. Good start here for Shane, good break.
Yeah, a little bit of time off after the first match for Shane. I'm sure he'd have loved to have just rolled through and played tonight's final the way he played in that first match. He was so good. One mistake in the entire match. Missed long pot, and other than that was pretty much flawless. Once he got a bit of an iffy opening frame out the way where the cue ball wasn't quite dropping where he wanted it. After that, still won it, but after that, completely settled down and played some brilliant stuff.
Yeah, kept the cue ball under very good close cue ball control. Yes, he got a lot of good chances following, you know, off the back of breaking really well, but it was the way he was able to make it look easy by controlling the cue ball well and working out those finishes. Having raved about his cue ball control, that one's just got away from him. I think he was playing for the one on the left-hand side, the one nearest the pocket. Can't see it, so I have to go up the table, reroute. Oh, he's overhit this one. Oh, he's just pulled up in time. For a second there, I thought he was going to be on absolutely nothing, but it's pulled up and actually he's fine.
Yep, that'll do it. Could have been in real trouble there, Shane Thompson, but held up just in time.
Yeah, I'm sure he got closer to that yellow than he wanted to, but he actually left himself the perfect angle just to track past the 8-ball. I don't think he'd have played that close position from that distance.
Never in doubt from Shane Thompson. Super start from him. And he's picked up right where he left off in our first semi-final tonight.
Continues his run. Every time he makes a ball off the break, he clears it up.
Well, this is the safe cracker, the 5-time UK Tour winner. 4-time world team champion as well in that all-conquering England side, but good enough to be picked for that England side, which in its own way is is plenty of an accolade.
Yeah, it certainly is. Very strong England side Shane's been a part of for a number of years now.
Trailing 1 frame to 0.
As has John, actually. Different versions of the game. Shane playing for England at World Rules, and John at Black Ball. John stayed with the front ball break that worked so well to get him over the line in the previous match.
You can see he's throwing a little bit more at it as well, can't you?
Yeah.
A little bit wild on the cue there, but I suppose if you can't quite generate the exact timing, it's been a little while, then why not just throw the arm at it and see what comes up?
Give it everything you've got. Well, he tried to control break, didn't he, at the start of the match, or start of the first match, and it didn't work for him, so now he's going for the aggressive option. He's made a good break as well, though, hasn't he? Look at the split here. Great chance to respond. That's not the positional shot he wanted to play, though. He wanted to be on the red to the left-hand side, I think. He could well be leaving it for last ball, or maybe doing him a disservice there. I just thought he might want to get onto that red to the top left and then get back onto that one into the middle of the table, and then it's really simple from there. Now he does need to play one good positional shot just to land on that red at the top with an angle, just to avoid the yellows onto the 8 ball. Easiest way to get onto that red is just to come back to the left-hand side of the table, but that might make the position onto the 8 ball tricky. So he's played for the gap in the yellows. Has he got it?
I don't think he has.
It's tight.
Oh, he could just swerve through. That's a brilliant shot. And John Chambers ties things up. Little hand of apology in there. And Shane Thompson, don't apologise, he knew exactly what you were doing. I think in the end he actually had to swerve it. Looking at that over the top, I think it was bullet straight.
Yeah, and I think he was trying to bring it back straight, which is why the hand of apology came up, because I think he just cued across it a fraction and still made the pot, but was a bit fortunate with the position.
Well, it's been a little while since we've seen John Chambers in action, but we've really enjoyed him tonight. The former 2-time European and 3-time national champion as well. Multiple championships, both home nations, European and world team championships with England as well.
Yeah, and a whole host of smaller events. They're the highlights, but he's a player that's won a lot of tournaments, right through from all the age groups and local all the way through to further afield. But what a break that is from Shane.
It's ridiculous. That's absolutely amazing, isn't it? Sledgehammer.
Balls flying in everywhere. He has broken really well. This is as impressive a performance with the break as we've seen so far in this tournament.
Yellow ball's in play.
Good plant to start. Another good chance.
Yeah, it is. It really is. And not a surprise to see him take yellows either. Some of our newer viewers might be wondering why, when you've only got 4 reds on the table, would you opt to take the seemingly more difficult option with more on the table and a little bit congested downstairs? You've got a lot more control in the frame by doing that, a lot more options.
Yeah, there would have been some.
Oh, that's a shocker, though.
I would say there would have been some problems with the Reds, but that's a big miss. A very big miss from Shane. He's playing this with a little bit of side. I think that side just forces the cue ball to the side and misses it thin because of the side. So big miss from Shane. Can John respond? And I think the good thing from John's perspective is those Reds were tricky, but where he's landed, the Reds aren't a big problem. He had a pocket for the Red on the right-hand side. That was his first shot into the middle, which he made. It wasn't a particularly easy pot, but he dropped it in okay. And the other Red in the triangle area does go to the bottom left.
Yeah, I think the key thing with that miss from Shane is it wasn't just a bad one. It was a really surprising one. It hasn't looked like missing a shot like that all night. And what with John getting a win 5 minutes ago, it feels like, in a big game, he's got a little bit of backing there as well. You don't want to give him a bit of rope to run with.
No, exactly. And John's dished at the first frame in the first break he had in this match, and the last one in the previous match. And you've just given him an opportunity to go 2-1 up, and he's breaking next. All of a sudden, it can be 3-1. And considering how well Shane played in that first match, that is a very, very surprising miss.
Yeah, just wasn't expecting it at all. Wasn't expecting it at all.
He's having to play that with quite a lot of right-hand side to try and hit the cushion and come down the table. If he plays it plain ball, then position onto his next shot isn't easy, or isn't going to happen. So had to play with the side, but it's still, even with putting side on, a big, big miss. Oh, he's dry. I think he just moved the position of the cue ball there a little bit more straight on this time, and comes up dry. The last couple of breaks have been fantastic, and although you can't argue really when you look at the way they split open, hit that fantastically well, just didn't make a ball.
It's about as good as you can hit them. No complaints whatsoever with the contact, the split. Shane wants that to drop, and it's not going to quite reach. You just see there a glimmer of frustration on the face of the safe cracker, who's at the moment got a real job to pull this final off if things stay as they are. That was a good chance they was afforded with the dry break.
Yeah, it's a shot that it looks complicated playing a plant in that way, but it's a shot that Shane would have expected to make. It wasn't that difficult, just had to get a nice solid contact on the red, and the reason he played it at the pace he did, he didn't want to move the yellow too far up the table into problems, so just got the pace of the shot wrong. There might be a few of you out there as well saying, why didn't he just play the red onto the yellow direct? But international 8-ball rules, you can't do that. You have to go for the colour set that you're playing. So if you're playing a red and you pot a yellow, it's just loss of turn and open table for your opponent.
Could be a big moment, not just in this frame, but in the match when we look back at it in 39.5 minutes time.
That's not the best shot that John's ever played from the cushion. He needs to, at the very least, stop the cue ball on this next shot. Potted it thick enough to be able to hold the cue ball. If he hits that centre pocket, it's a slightly thinner next shot.
Where's the white ball? Oh, you lucky boy. Oh, you lucky boy, John Chambers. Everything's rolling in his direction at the moment. Rubber the green, chances. And he's also playing very, very well. And when you combine those three, that is a very difficult combination to try and stop. This almost goes very, very wrong, but actually goes great. And it's what he was intending to play, just didn't want to quite run the risk so close.
Yeah, it certainly made us a little bit worried for him. It was very close to the centre pocket, but perfectly controlled in the end.
Yeah, never in doubt, never in doubt. Here's a draw in quarter one then. Got this to look forward to in a month's time. Oh, I can't wait. Jordan Shepherd against Chris Melling. Phil Harrison versus Rob Chilton. The winner plays each other for a spot in the semi-final on finals night. Oh, give me it.
I know we're early in this match, but I feel this is quite a big moment for Shane. He's been breaking so well. He really needs to make something here and get going again. And oh, he's so unlucky this time.
Foul.
Makes a ball off the break, but the cue ball gets kicked into that centre pocket. Oh, really unfortunate. And look at the split as well.
Sickener if you're Shane Thompson, isn't it? An absolute sickener.
Yellow balls in play.
The worst thing about it all when you're in, for Shane is you feel like you bring it on yourself at times. That massive miss that we saw a couple of times there. Instead of going 2-1 up, you go 2-1 down, and then you miss the next chance in the next frame with a delicate little plant shot, and all of a sudden
it can really snowball, can't it?
Yeah, if you go from playing, at the top of your game, making the game look simple, to all of a sudden, potentially 4-1 down, and you're chasing it. If the yellow goes past the 8 ball to the bottom left-hand corner, then that helps things. Doesn't have to go that way, but it'll just make things simpler. The fact that he's come on and off the cushion tells me it probably doesn't. It's no problem to go the way he has. Oh, he's a bit betwixt and between. If he takes the yellow to the centre pocket, then he's got to go up the table towards the top right-hand corner and that red that's up there. Or if he takes the yellow to the top left, then he's got to play a delicate positional shot into the middle. That was a bit between shots there.
Yeah, it's not easy. He just wanted whichever pocket this is going into, he just wants the white to stop.
Yeah.
And he can't. This is now pretty awkward. I think it's got to go to the left middle, but he's just got to hope that he can slow the white enough. He's going to actually pace it and try and judge it off the cushion. Played that really well.
Yeah, controlled it well. Knew that he wasn't getting that contact on the red.
There we have it. John Chambers is on the roll. And he loves it. Feeling it out there is John. Why not? Q2 of the Masters draw. Carl Sutton will take on Sam Bircher. Josh Kane's got Declan Brennan. It's one of my ties of the round, that one. Really, really cannot wait for those two to match up. The winner of each will play each other, and a semi-finalist will emerge from one of those 4 players. Well, that's Camp John Chambers, as well as a couple of hangers-on as well. And
Frame 6.
they will be very, very happy with how their mate's playing at the moment, that's for sure.
Good to see David McNamara there as well. Unfortunately didn't get through his group, but was also in a car accident recently. He's on the mend.
John's breaking now really, really well. He is playing better as the night's gone on, and we've seen through this competition that actually when that happens, it's a really, really dangerous combination. It's difficult to, if you play that match so well as Shane did, make no question about it, brilliant performance in that opening match against Aaron Davies. There's a little bit of time to cool down, and he's playing against a player here who is warming up and progressively getting better, and that's tough to play against. Shane's had a shocking rub of the green in this match. You can make no mistake about that. He's also made a couple more mistakes than he made in the entirety of his first match. It just feels at the moment that momentum is all going one way, and it's going to the man at the table at the moment.
I agree with you, but when you have that momentum, you need to see it through. We saw in that last match, no doubt for me, Zach Shepherd had that momentum and made a very, very poor error, and that's really let John off the hook here. And without that error, I think it would be Zach Shepherd here at the table. This frame is far from certain though. At 8 ball, in an awkward position. Could play for it down the rail, could play for it as a double. Could play to move it if he gets the angle. Moving it is a dangerous choice of shot though. Be very surprised if he plays to move it. Well, from where he's left it, a double would be favourite. Pop this and get the cue ball anywhere level or just above that 8 ball. Just above would be perfect. Could come twice across if he wants to play it down the rail. It is the double.
This for 5-1. Never in doubt, John Chambers is rolling here. Superb performance. He leads by 5 frames to 1. This match continues when we come back. Welcome back into the arena. You haven't missed a ball of tonight's final. Shane Thompson 5-1 down against John Chambers. And if he's to make the last 16 of this tournament, the comeback has to start now, really. He's been unlucky. He really has. But he can't dwell on that. He has to just play from now, almost reset, restart. Played really well tonight, Shane Thompson. He's made maybe 1 or 2 mistakes, had 1 or 2 very unlucky moments, and he finds himself 5-1 down. It's a tough school. It's very similar, actually, to what he did to Aaron Davies in that first match. It's the kind of game it can be sometimes, but if he is to do it, he's got to start somewhere. He's probably got to start here.
Yeah, he's got a good break here, and
Yellow ball's in play.
for the first time in a while when he's made a good break and made a ball, he's actually got quite a bit of work to do. Deserved a better split with a quality of break. Some problems at the top end of the table to solve. Well, interesting that he's played that. I thought he had an angle to go into them, but he's definitely seeing this as a plan. It's far from set though. He has to make this shot. But if he makes the plant, then the one he's hitting is going to go and develop the other one. Oh, he misses the plant. Yeah, it wasn't an easy shot.
He wasn't ideal on it either. He wanted that white ball to be much more behind it, I think. This is a tough shot. He'd have hoped to have made it, of course, and he probably would have expected to make it, but it was a bit missable. It just sums up this match, really, for Shane. It's just not been there for him. Now can John punish and go 6-1 up? Because 6-1 up with half an hour left to play is such a huge lead.
Yeah, been rattling through the frames in this match. John's not hung about, even though it's 45 seconds a shot. Although this counter clearance is far from easy, really, really difficult. I don't think John's got a first ball. Not sure if he could cut back the one over the middle pocket, possibly off the red, but the red looks a little bit too low for that. Yeah, I don't think that's on. So a double, possibly the only shot he's got if he wants to be aggressive. I wonder if he's thinking about a safety shot though. If he can get the cue ball somewhere near the bottom right-hand corner of the table.
So relaxed by this, he might time foul, he doesn't, and he does manage to squeeze it in. Wow. So composed despite the clock ticking down.
Yeah, I didn't think this was quite on. That red that's on the cushion just looks a shade too far down the table, but he controlled that really well. And now it's no attempt at the pocket, it is taking the pocket.
Yeah, that's not a surprise, and it's a good shot actually, he's played that well. It's actually quite difficult for Shane to move that as well because it's not right in the pocket, it's a perfect blocker.
Yeah, you could see there John clearly played to take the pocket rather than pop that, but actually when you look at the table that he's left here, you know, there's half a chance here for Shane. He's got 1 ball to develop, but let's say John makes that ball along the bottom rail. The other 2 reds in the open are fine, 8 ball's fine, and that one that's nearest the right-hand side that doesn't go would be a comfortable double. We've already seen John make a couple of really comfortable doubles in the match. So I'm a little bit surprised that John didn't take it on.
Not a big surprise to see Shane take this on though. Not a big surprise at all. Because he sort of has to. He's got to go and win this frame. He's got plenty of time on his side. That's not a massive issue. Biggest one, of course, is that scoreboard. John only needs 3 to win the match. And that's gone horribly.
Yeah, and that was such a tough chance for Shane. Problems on both ends of the table. Real difficult for him to clear up. And I was wondering why John didn't take the clearance on before. And I think that's the match play element of the match that's coming through from John there. He's weighed it up and thought that's odds against Shane clearing up here. Big odds against. And, you know, I'd rather, you know, not risk taking a finish on that I might not get to make it easy for Shane and let him get back in the match. If he's going to make a clearance here, make him earn it rather than giving it to him. And he's got his rewards here from that, because this is, you know, he's now got an opportunity. Okay, he still has to make that double, but, you know, this is an easier finish than it would have been from where he was before.
Probably wants that to keep on moving a little bit, but you could take double now if you wanted.
Looks to be perfect on the double.
Don't think he was playing on it, but I think you're right. I think he's absolutely money on it.
He could well be thinking about trying to move the red, which is risky for me. He is trying to move it. Oh, it's perfect.
What a shot.
And the reason I was saying it was risky, because if that red sits on the yellow that's gone in, he's absolutely got nothing. Whereas the double would be more controllable. But now the yellow's dropped, it looks like the best choice. Of course it does. Brilliant stuff.
It's a really, really top shot from John Chambers. He's grown into tonight. Looks a threat. Looks a real threat playing at this level. Six, 1.
Frame.
Well, if you'd asked me who had made the big favourite heading into this final, it would have been Shane Thompson. 6-1's a huge lead now for John Chambers. This is Q3. As things stand in the Masters draw, it looks like it is going to be the man at the bottom of your picture, John Chambers, advancing through the bracket to face Craig Waddingham in the last 16. As things stand,
He's just got better and better as the night's gone on, and that replay of that shot, that cannon, to me, I look at that again, I just look at how risky it is, and you have to get the perfect contact to play the shot the way he did, and he managed to get that contact, and just shows the confidence he's now, you know, seeing the game with.
oh, somehow that red's going to stay up. Is he going to make one ball? Yes, last one in motion. Shane pops that leg back up.
He was just about to get up, wasn't he? You could just see him moving. Last ball in motion, dropped in.
Oh, it's a tough one, isn't it?
I think he's looking at these reds, but he needs one very good shot to open these up and win this frame, and that's not easy, because that red on the right-hand side, it's difficult to find a ball to try and get into that area to open it up.
Red ball's in play.
Potentially could play a double on it to the bottom left-hand corner. The yellow might not be in the way of that shot. Yeah, you could say I think he can just about play the double. It's difficult. I can't see how he can get an angle on anything to go across and cannon it.
Yeah, the one thing you would say for Shane Thompson is this frame could have a little bit of mileage in it, which will help him. He's got loads of time on the match clock, actually. Doesn't really need to worry about that. These frames have been played at a real rate. There's enough time for him to make a comeback here, but he's going to need to start doing it soon.
He's on the double now. That was a nice shot, cutting that back.
I suppose if you're 6-1, you can almost take this risk, can't you? You know, if you make it, you're almost certainly going to win the match. There's not a huge penalty if you don't.
Yeah, well, we saw him turn down a a finish that was questionable in the previous frame because he didn't want to make it easy for Shane. That might be going through his head as well. But if the double goes in, you expect him to win the frame.
Well, you can see how close it was.
Always feel that doubles into the corner are trickier.
For
one reason or another to judge. It just doesn't feel as open a pocket.
Well, Shane Thompson, these have got to go. Have to.
I just question whether the yellow in the top of the table goes to the top left-hand corner. If not, then he's going to have to play for it into the middle pocket. Yeah, it probably does go, but the middle pocket is probably the right way.
Yeah, he's got a natural route to that as well.
Yeah.
And it's a big pocket. Yeah, going to play on it now. He's going to get this frame on the board. That was the last real tricky shot.
Well, that's not the positional shot he wanted. He wanted to be behind this 8-ball. Looks really simple from the overhead, but this is certainly missable. Possibly even a double.
It is a double. It was an easy enough one. 6-2. Well, the comeback had to start somewhere. It would be the best comeback we've seen in the tournament so far. But if Shane Thompson can rediscover the form that he showed earlier, he's going to have a great chance. But he's probably going to need to find that sooner rather than later.
I quite like the pace he played that frame at. Sometimes when a player goes this far behind with the, with a match clock situation, they can rush it and end up, feeling like a match is already lost and throw it away. He didn't. He calmly made the finish. Didn't rush round the table. You've got to make sure, get yourself back into it one way or another. And if you have to rush, you do it a little bit later on. Big break again from Shane.
He's broken amazingly all night.
Yeah.
And usually when you see someone break this well for 2 matches, you almost certainly see them win both. Just been a bit unlucky tonight.
I think the yellows, especially the one in the middle of the bottom of the table, does go to the bottom left. The other one goes to the bottom right. So what looks like it could be a little bit tricky actually isn't, if that yellow does go, and I'm pretty sure it does. Just saw him come around and have a look at that yellow I was talking about, and there you go, it does go through those reds to the corner pocket.
Beautifully played. Oh, but it was tight. Of that, there's no mistake. But it did go. And that is a tough one for Shane Thompson to take, and you could see when he sat back down in his seat, he knew that could be a really fatal one.
I know it wasn't the full pocket, but I'm really shocked that Shane's missed that. I'm actually the 3 or 4 pots he has missed in this match have been quite shocking, really, considering how well he played in the previous match. Play this one off the yellow, open it all up. There we go. That's half open things up. It's not perfect because the 8 ball still doesn't go. You could probably leave the red nearest the 8 ball as your last ball. You could play a really short position onto that 8 ball, or you could try and move it. If you're going to move it, maybe do it a little bit earlier. That's not ideal. Still on this red to the corner, but he's knocked another red awkward, and that's going to make the 8 ball even more awkward. Definitely an argument here for me that says you just play the red over the pocket, leave the cue ball at the bottom of the table.
Extension call.
Yeah, and I think that's what he's considering.
Just take control. You're 6-2 up, 18 minutes on the clock. Okay, yeah, running the clock down is not really the play here, but chasing the finish that's not on is probably not the play either. No, he's playing the safety, just playing it a slightly different way.
Played it well, though. I think he's got the full snooker in there.
Yeah, he's gone for the snooker rather. So the shot I was suggesting to put the red over the pocket wouldn't have got the snooker, but this way he has. Oh, Shane's thinking about coming off a couple of cushions here, potting this yellow. Wants to hit the side. Wants to hit the side cushion before the yellow.
Foul.
John would have loved that to have dropped in.
Yeah. It's international 8 ball rules. You can't play a free ball or carry 2 shots or anything like that. So that yellow staying over the pocket actually is, a decent-ish result for Shane, unless John can squeeze this red in off the jaw and open it all up, which he possibly can't.
Yeah, not weirdly with this frame situation. This is not a gimme finish at all.
Well, I think he's going for it. He's just getting rid of the one up there first, and now he's going to play this one. So jaw, then yellow.
Shot, well played.
Yeah, really well worked out for John. And you could see him, he placed the cue ball like he was about to play that shot first of all, and then he realised he'd have to then play good position onto that one up on the top right-hand rail, and actually thought, if I play the one on the rail first from perfect position, it's all easy.
Oh, John.
That's a big mistake. That really is. We saw Zach Shepherd, do that in the previous match.
I'm not sure he can play this.
If he's touching ball, then he just has to hit a cushion. If it's not touching ball, then he's got all sorts of problems. Or even if it is touching ball, and he's still not going to be able to pot it in terms of a safety option.
Yeah, the issue is here for those thinking, you could probably make it. Push shot is a massive problem. You can only leave it over the pocket. It's not left a terrible cue ball though. It's not a dreadful result if you're John Chambers.
Yeah, and that's as played. He's not trying to pot this. He's absolutely trying to drop it over the pocket and leave it as awkward as possible for Shane. He'll be slightly frustrated that he's given Shane a shot at anything. He would have loved those 2 yellows to line up and be on neither of them, but Shane does have this very tough pot to the corner.
What a great shot that is. What a great shot that is. Well, he needed that in a big way, Shane Thompson. 6-3, 3 behinds.
This is brilliant, isn't it? All sorts of pressure on that. If he misses that, he loses the match. Great pot. And well, we saw a big positional error cost Zach Shepherd in the previous match. Will it cost John Chambers in this one?
Oh, I wonder. Group 13 there. Stevie Dempsey, Neil Raybone, our fan dad, Brian Halcrow. That's to come in 7 days' time. We've then got Scott Gillespie, John Rowe coming up in Group 14. Michael Hill, Sean Chipperfield in Group 15. We end it. John Kenneth Lydon de Bono. Great group still to come. And then once those are done, we are into the 4 last 16 groups. And then we'll have one more week and it will be finals night. With the last 4 players left standing, 2 semis and a final, all in one night. Live on Free Sports. Oh, almost a golden break for John Chambers. That'd have been a real sickener for if you Shane Thompson.
It really would, because this is a complete miss-hit of a break. He's trying to catch this ball full and he catches it half ball. Gets it all wrong. There you go, look at that half ball contact when you're trying to catch it full. Yeah, and you look at his reaction as well. He absolutely knows it.
Got away with one.
Red ball's in play.
Tricky finish, one really tied up red there at the top of the table. I always think in this situation, so you've got a tricky finish here and you've just made a big mistake in the previous frame. So instead of going 7-2, you're 6-3. John doesn't make this finish here. All of a sudden, could be 6-4 and this could be absolutely match on.
Yeah, it's a fiddly little finish, and the longer it goes into it, almost the more riskier it becomes. Getting that red out from that trio of yellows is difficult.
Yeah, and I thought he wanted an angle on this next ball to be able to do it, and he doesn't have it. I think he's too straight. Maybe he's going to try and force it. Well, he might have just enough. Oh, he tried to come on and off the cushion, which is not ideal.
Well, this is end of break.
Yeah, he could potentially pop the one at the top of the table, but what advantage would you get for that? He's blocked the red at the bottom of the table, still got the problem in the top half.
He's got to try and find a good safety hit, and that's not easily done.
Now that he's where he is, I wouldn't be thinking about moving that red. I'd want to leave it in there, and at least, you know, it's in the way, it's blocking out the yellows to somewhat. It's solvable from Shane Thompson's point of view, but if John plays this red and opens everything up, which he has, you're making it easy for your opponent, or easier for your opponent.
Surprised by that choice of shot, must say.
Yeah, me too.
I don't know what else I necessarily would have looked to play there. I don't think a safety option was easy at all, but a little bit surprised to see that choice of shot.
Yeah, there wasn't too many safe areas on the table, so I can see why he's continued to try and be aggressive. He felt like he could squeeze that through and play it off 2 yellows in the centre pocket and continue the finish. And I could see that the argument for that shot if the red at the bottom of the table had stayed in the open, but not the way it planned out. There's definitely some mileage in this match yet.
Yeah, Shane is not out of this one just yet. 3 frames behind. Should be about to go 2 frames behind. Going to be about 10 minutes left. That is loads of time. Could be in for an absolutely cracking finish.
Lovely positional shot from Shane. The yellow goes to the top right. I'm not sure if he can get onto it in the centre pocket. He's going to go into the red. So not guaranteed to get perfect position, and he hasn't got perfect position.
It's another clutch pot required. We saw one in the last frame. This is where Shane Thompson takes on the difficult one to win a frame. Does this better than most. Never in doubt, was it? Never in doubt. And if you're John Chambers, you're looking over your shoulder all of a sudden. Shane Thompson back within 2. Game on.
Frame.
Long way to go yet. Little look at the match clock for Shane Thompson, and he'll know that now. This is on. 1 frame at a time, brick by brick. A comeback is being built.
Yeah, it's not a good feeling when you're 6-1 up and all of a sudden, you know, your opponent comes back at you 6-4. Plenty of time left on the clock for Shane Thompson, so very tight finish we've got building up here. He still looks relaxed out there, does John? Still chatting with his friends just behind him.
Frame 11. Shane Thompson to break. Trailing 6 frames to 4.
Shane with the
15
break.
second top clock.
Let's go back within 1, and he has been breaking brilliantly. But just as I say that, he's tried to throw his whole shoulder at it, and he screwed the white straight in, and he could really regret that.
I was just thinking before we lined up to play this would be the perfect time for another one of his massive breaks and a nice quick break and dish and really get that advantage. And I think Shane probably thought the same thing, because he threw everything at that where he didn't need to. He was breaking so well. He's just given that a little bit extra.
Yeah, why change the formula?
John's looking at yellows here. Reds are more open for the majority, but
Yellow ball's in play.
the bottom right-hand corner is a real problem for Reds.
If you can clear these two out of the way, though, this clearance is very much on.
It's another layout, though, when you've had, obviously had now 3 straight frames where he's taken on finishes and not been able to take them. They were tricky finishes. This is another one that is a tricky finish. Well, if both these yellows go independently of that one at the bottom of the table, then actually they're not as bad as I first thought. And they do.
Oh, he's potted that one really well.
It's not a good angle, though. He needed that cue ball to go another 2-3 inches to the left so he could come on off the cushion. This is a little bit straight. If he just drops it in on the cushion, has he got a shot?
Looks like it.
Problem he has here, how do you hold on the black?
It's a big problem as well.
He might target the red, but still not guaranteed to leave it nice.
Oh, that's a great shot. He did target the red. He has left it nice. John Chambers, 1 from home.
Frame.
He is almost there. It's a sickener if you're Shane Thompson.
It is, and because the angle he was going at, even if he got that good contact on the red, it was always going to throw the cue ball a little bit to the left and make it tight, but pulled up just in time. That's a very good visit to the table, especially when you consider the way that he chased those finishes in the last 3 frames and didn't make them. Great reverse dish.
Just when he needed it.
Yeah.
Because you could argue the last few frames he took a couple of options which maybe weren't really on. Probably would have chased better options if the match situation was different, but when he had to there,
Leading 7 frames
he's
to 4.
really pulled one out. Where's the 8 ball? No. And it's dry. Well.
I thought that was in. I really did. I jumped out of my chair.
Oh, it looks in, doesn't it?
Looks in all the way. Just rolls across it
Red
and
ball's in play.
leaves Shane a chance. It's not the chance you really want. 7-4 down, 7 minutes 30 on the clock, and problems here for Reds. No yellow to go at all for Shane, so has to take these Reds on.
What an opportunity now. That's a great shot.
Contacted the yellow he didn't expect to, but he's still got the red out one way or another. Thin cut here,
Talking
but
pure results.
yeah, of course.
You do not mind, do you?
No, you don't. But you just saw that little raise of the hand from Shane, so even in his situation, that slightly fortuitous nudge as, you know, he raises his hand.
Talking slightly fortuitous. think he can get through to the one at the top left here. He doesn't want to, though. Wants to play the plant. I think he's just held it enough. No, it's a double.
Wow.
Oh,
That's
wow.
brilliant. That's absolutely brilliant from Shane Thompson. Really is.
Wow. 6.5 remaining. Shane Thompson picking up the pace. Back within 2. What a reverse dish.
Frame.
That's one of the best shots we've seen in the tournament so far. One of the best reverse dishes we've seen in the tournament so far. Absolute brilliance from Shane Thompson. And he did it at a very quick pace as well, didn't he? Didn't hang about there at all.
Even on that double. Amazing. What a shot. What a shot.
Like you, I thought he'd just not finished perfect and he was going to play, because I thought he'd be lining up some sort of plant to the top cushion, or even maybe playing it in off the red to the top cushion. No, plant on, make it, win the frame. Brilliant stuff from Shane. And we're back in that situation here. If he can find a ball
7 frames to 5.
and make a big break, or break and dish. Change a break though. His turn to get the 8 ball in motion, which is probably why he changed the break.
And he's going to come up dry. Of all the times.
I'm surprised at that, if I'm honest. I mean, there's 6 minutes on the clock. Is still loads, you know, in this form of the game.
Extension call.
You know, 15 seconds a shot. You know, we've seen a lot of matches, a lot of frames happen in 6 minutes, and Shane's been breaking so well tonight from that front ball. You know, it's as good as we've seen anyone break in the tournament, I think. You know, okay, he was a little bit unlucky on his first in-off, but the second one was a poor break, his only poor break of the night, and he's changed immediately.
This isn't guaranteed. Just going to play it safe. It's not a bad safety, although I think Shane Thompson can get that one into the middle. I don't think it's hidden.
Yeah, I think John's taking the gamble that the bottom of the table is tough enough to solve. And one of those finishes, though, that John absolutely felt wasn't worth going for. I think it's the right choice.
Can Shane Thompson go within 1?
Extension call.
It's a tough, tough finish. Not got a lot of time to figure it out. Skill shot. Oh. No, it's cleverer. That could be an amazing opener. I think these all go now.
Yeah, that was brilliant again.
That's such a good shot.
Yeah, that was hard to do, and it's one of those shots that sometimes you play, oh, that's poor. Just when I thought he played a great shot. You know, he did play a great shot. He's a poor positional shot, although that red still goes, so he's okay. Yeah, I was about to say that shot he played previously, the one we were raving about. You know, sometimes you play those shots delicately and with control, but he had to play it with pace to get the position he needed, which just added to the tariff. And if he missed it, it would have just made things so much worse.
Oh, he could be in for such a good finish. Don't you dare go anywhere. 4 minutes remain, and Shane Thompson's about to go back within 1. He was 6-1 down. It's now 7-6. This is the shot that got him there. That's a brilliant shot. Within 1. John, though, has the break, and if he makes the ball that he needs, he is still in the driver's seat.
Yeah, it's still in his hands. He gets this next break. Still 3 minutes 58. This is where you could start to think about a different type of break. There's, you know, something lighter, maybe more congested, but he's going to go for his front ball power break.
Yeah, I don't know if you can. Oh, that white was so close. I don't know if you, John, if you can risk trying to tie things up, because you've seen Shane take out finishes really against the 8 ball, and now he's given himself the chance. He has given himself the chance.
See there, Shane was jumping out of his chair again. He thought that John had screwed straight into the corner pocket. Oh, it stayed on the table.
The other ball's in play.
Oh, that's a little bit of luck.
Yeah, just slightly overhit that shot for me, but catching the jaw has made it okay. A couple of problems still to solve here for John. Not a really easy chance to win the match. Those reds are really in the way on the right-hand side. Good positional shot to try and get across behind them onto the right-hand side so they can go to the left. Would do him well. Somewhere there. No, he got the nudge he didn't want. I think he would have preferred to screw past that and take it into the middle.
Oh, this is dicey, isn't it? The only pot he can play is on the yellow that's in the middle of the table. Can he figure out a way to stay on yellows? I'm not sure he can. I'm not sure he has. Is Shane Thompson going to get a chance with 2 minutes left?
I think John can see a yellow, so just make it as messy as possible here for Shane. Don't open anything up. That's what he's tried to do. Yeah, just get that yellow in amongst them. Really make it difficult. Make Shane try and chase something.
Shane Thompson, you've got 2 minutes to tie the match. Tried to develop everything with that first shot. He might well have done enough.
Yeah,
I think those reds now plant. Yeah, look at that.
Perfect.
What a chance now for Shane Thompson. 6-1 down. Remember, and then he misses. He misses that. I can't believe it.
That's incredible. That really is incredible. Oh, that's a good shot as well.
That's an amazing shot.
He's on the yellow as well to the corner. I mean, I know John was thinking take the bottom left with a double, get the white safe in where he left it, and he's made one and landed on the other. Now he's got to try and make the 8 ball somewhere. This isn't finished yet. There's still enough time on the clock here for Shane. And this is not easy to get on this 8 ball in any way, shape or form.
Oh, we got some drama left, folks. 117 and ticking.
What's he got? Can he double it to the top right? Cut it to the top left?
There's no way this cuts to the top left, surely.
Oh, he could cut this to the top left. It's thin. I like the double. It's more controllable in terms of keeping the cue ball potentially in an awkward position for Shane. Oh, it's the treble.
Oh, the white's in. Shane Thompson, now's your moment. We're going to go the distance, I think.
Well, that's incredible, because if that 8 ball had gone in, he had lost the frame.
Oh, that one wobbled. 3 simple reds.
Oh, plenty of time, really. Plenty of time.
Can be no mistakes here. 6-1 down to make it 7 each. Shane Thompson, what a comeback. There's still a little bit left to go. Is he about to pull off the best comeback we've seen in the Ultimate Pool Masters? What an amazing comeback that is. Nine seconds remaining.
That was incredible. It really was. You have to say, has there been some, lack of clock management from John? Could he have done more to kill the clock in that frame in terms of taking more time on the shots? There is still time here for Shane for a golden break.
7-all. 9 seconds. If he makes the 8 ball, he wins the match. Oh, he thought about it. There's not enough time to go and win it. We will decide who qualifies for the last 16 with a 6 red shootout. Real applause around the arena, and quite right too. That was a brilliant match. A superb comeback. An absolutely brilliant comeback from Shane Thompson. And to decide the winner, to decide who's going through to the last 16, we're going to have a 6-red shootout. I'm almost speechless. That was amazing.
That really was incredible. I feel like John's going to think he should have won the match. I think John should have won the match. He had enough ways that he could have killed it, or used more time on the clock, or whatever. And in the end, he's given Shane another opportunity. He's taken it. And yeah, we've gone all the way, but you consider John was 6-1 up in that match. Shane never gave up. He always kept fighting, scrapping away.
Huge credit. Deserves huge credit.
Yeah, and I know that there was a couple of John chased a couple of finishes there to allow Shane back in the match, but those finishes that Shane took out to get it back to what it was, 6-4 I think it was, were absolutely top draw and incredible. And fair play to Shane to really fighting hard and getting himself back into that match.
And worth remembering as well, Shane had some rotten luck at the start of that match. He went down quite big, but he was very, very unlucky to do so early on, at least. I think John did brilliantly to sort of capitalise on that advantage and hammer it home. But Shane was very unlucky at the start, and to have the sort of fortitude to keep going, to stick in it, because there are plenty who would have given up at 6-1 down in that scenario.
Yeah, exactly. But the one good thing that Shane had in his favour was the fact that John got himself 6-1 up really, really quickly. That's probably the quickest we've seen anyone get that far in front.
After 20 minutes?
Yeah, 20 minutes in, he's 6-1 up. So I think that was a big advantage for Shane to have time to come back into the match. And I said when he won his first frame, or after that to go 6-2, he didn't rush that finish. He made sure he was calculated. He played the right shots. He knew there was time.
Well, let's go to the arena. It's time to find out who's going through. 6 reds on the table. Shane Thompson will go first. Hearing he lost the lag, so John decided to go second. That is an advantage, generally speaking, at least.
Yeah, and the player's just checking with our referee on the rules, make sure, because I'm sure neither of these players have done this in competition. So it is whoever can clear these 6 reds up the quickest will go through.
White and object ball must be still. Everything else can still be moving. Mid-20s, we think, is a good score.
He's overhit that break for me. You see players trying to hit the break a little softer to get the cue ball stationary as quickly as possible. So that's, he's only played 1 shot and he's 11 seconds in. So that's already a little bit behind.
Potting-wise, though, they're all there, and he doesn't have to do a huge amount with the white.
And that was a poor shot.
Oh, that was a poor one. He still can recover this, though. Still going to be an okay score if he can stop shot these two. He's going to give John some chasing to do. Needs to fly this one in. Stops the watch at 37. 37.04. I think if you're John Chambers, you'll take it.
Yeah, I think any time your opponent doesn't post a sub 30, I wouldn't say you're comfortable, but you're happy with that. You're happy with the target you've got to chase.
Yeah, if you wanted to.
And John will get
38-30.
to try and beat that score. I think it's easier to know what you have to beat rather than trying to set the target. Sometimes when you set the target, you can rush and almost go a little bit too quickly.
What a chance here for John. 37 seconds to go and take a place in the last 16.
Yeah, has that got longer? Yeah, John. Again, when you.
We saw Chris Melling have a similar sort of target to go at, and in a previous competition, and he was able to sort of be composed. That's a much better break in terms of pace for me. And I mean composed, you almost don't have to rush, although that needs to bounce.
Oh, that's not ideal. Just play it. Just play it. Gonna move on.
This is going to be tight now.
Yeah, this is. Needs to make these all in good time.
He's a little bit unfortunate the way the ones at the top went. They just went a little bit more awkward than he was hoping.
But that's the advantage of the stop shots, look. 3 in quick succession. And he runs around the table. He has 5 seconds to spare to go through to the last 16. He's missed it. It's going to be tight. It is going to be tight. We're going to have to go to the referee's stopwatch there. And he's done it. John Chambers, by the skin of his teeth. 36.7 we're hearing. That's 0.3 of a second in it. As close a 6 red shootout as we've ever seen. And John Chambers is in the last 16. We'll hear from him next. Welcome back to the Ultimate Pool Masters. What a finish in that one. A fantastic final between Shane Thompson and John Chambers. I'm delighted to say John joins me now. I dread to think what the heart rate's like, John. That was such a ridiculous finish. When you were 6-1 up, you must have been thinking you're almost there. To get it pulled back all the way for a 6 red shootout and then to win by 0.3 seconds.
Is that what it was?
It's about as close as it could possibly be.
Brilliant.
You must be absolutely buzzing.
Yeah, I'm really happy. Really happy. Even though I was 6-1 up, I know in this anything could happen. So when he was getting one back, then another, I thought, come on, just pinch one. And then as soon as he went to, I think it was 7-5, I thought, come on, just use the time up as much as you can. And I did, but it still wasn't enough. I just kept breaking down, unfortunately. But
it was a match that had a little bit of everything. At times it felt like you were going to pot a black off the break to go and win the match. Nothing would have surprised us in what happened. What's a match like that like to play in? Do you almost have to forget all the chaos that's going on and just try and keep it as simple as possible?
Yeah, I literally just tried to concentrate on playing pool shots. You know, you got to, as best you can, ignore the clock. But it's not easy when it starts beeping and you think, oh God, what do I do now? And you know, you just got to carry on.
Well, you came into this competition without playing a competitive match in ages.
Yeah.
You're now through to the last 16 of the Ultimate Pool Masters. It's a fantastic draw.
Yep.
It's an elite club to be in. Craig Waddingham in the next round.
Yep.
How pleased are you?
I can't believe it, honestly. All I wanted to do today was win a frame. That was my target, just win that first frame and then see what I can do after that. So I know I'm always capable, but after being like 18 months out, anything can happen. Flip of a coin for a lot of people. So.
Well, we can't wait to welcome you back in about 5-6 weeks. A great match in prospect as well. We'll see you then.
Well, cheers, mate. Cheers.
Simon, a fantastic winner tonight.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant winner. I'm really pleased for John. Brilliant performance. But I have to say that match was right up there, probably the match of the tournament for me. We've seen a couple of special matches, but that match seemed to have everything. And the performance from Shane to get back into it, the way he was able to stick in there was just absolutely phenomenal. He pushed John all the way, and what was there, less than half a second between them in the end.
Ridiculous. This is what we've got to look forward to next week. Group 13, Stevie Dempsey takes on Neil Raybone. Arfan Dad takes on Brian Halcrow. Try and top that one, gents. What a fantastic week tonight here at the Ultimate Pool Masters. We've absolutely loved having you with us tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We hope to see you again same time next week as well. It just feels like it's getting better and better week on week, doesn't it? We'll see you next time.